Hey, this is Chase Sexton. You're listening to the MotoXpod show.
What's up, you guys? Jeremy McGrath here. You are listening to MotoXpod show.
Ten seconds. Good evening, guys. It's time for an all-new Vital MX MotoXpod show presented by Racetech and Yamaha Motor USA. And if you guys know what that 10 seconds call was, and you guys are going to be in for a treat tonight with a pretty heavy off-road show. A lot of GNCC talk tonight. We're going to have Ryan Villopoto jump on and talk about his weekend at Ironman. He's going to jump on pretty early in the show if he responds. He was a late addition, but he said he would. We've got three-time WXC champion Rachael Archer going to join tonight. 7-time XC1 Pro ATV champ Walker Fowler. Chauncy Sharp for Motocross the Game. And former Supercross privateer RJ Wageman, all on the show tonight. RJ was out with Yamaha Motor USA this weekend, helping out with the YZ 250 FX intro that we went to, and he was a big part of that. And he's been doing some stunt stuff, so we're going to talk to him. Lots of good stuff to talk about. We'll probably spend a little bit of time talking about, we may get into World Supercross from Vancouver, but mostly GNCC talk. But before we get into all that, in studio, working the phones, working the camera, working YouTube, Scotty Thompson. What's up, Scotty?
Oh, not much, man. Just another weekend, and you had a big one. I just want to say that I am very proud of you.
Why?
Really proud. It's a big move to come out on social media out of the closet.
Oh.
But you posted pictures of you on a four-wheeler, so you're telling the world that you're just true to yourself, and we're proud of you.
You're the one wearing Crocs, bro.
Yeah, fair enough. But
I didn't I was a man
on a quad
and manhandled 500 pounds of pure thunder.
We support you,
Iron Man.
We support you.
And when Walker Fowler comes on in a little bit, he's gonna kick your ass. Also in studio once again from 710 Designs, Chase Moore. What's up?
Good to be back, man. I know the chat's missed me, so
yeah.
Here we are.
Between your tie-dye and his Crocs, my quad race, I got nothing on you two.
I'm pretty firm in my masculinity. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Before we get this thing rolling, I want to let everybody listen and know that there was this other podcast guy, host of some other podcast show, that was very, very negative in a group text today about my guest list tonight. So, if you're off-road life and you like this guest list, maybe let some of those other podcast guys know that, hey, this is a good kick-ass sport. This is a good guest list. We're going to rock and roll. But yeah, I think he was a little jealous, maybe a little insecure about his own masculinity and his own show. We'll talk to RV about this person if we get RV on. But I'm really excited about the show. We'll recap the intro I went to and lots of stuff, all during the Racetech Open discussion. And as you guys know, Racetech is the world's largest aftermarket motorcycle suspension modification company, and they have over 35 years of experience providing factory-level suspension to the everyday rider. You guys can check them out at racetech.com, find your local service center, get the work done you need on the bike, meet your local reps, get some parts if you need it, engine parts, and you can sign up for the engine classes going on, the engine seminars that are going on, I think in just over a week. They still have some openings. You can look into upcoming suspension seminars if you want to learn more about working on suspension, maybe become a Racetech service center, all that stuff, racetech.com. Tons and tons of great information on their website. We're probably going to hold off on WSX talk. We may not even get to it tonight, but because, again, heavy off-road show, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys think about once a month, once every 5 or 6 weeks? This is a Lewis Phillips idea, doing a GNCC show like regularly almost, and making it a thing, even if it was a separate MotoXpod show or Vital MX GNCC show. It doesn't even have to be a MotoXpod show, and start covering like off-road stuff. We were talking about this today.
We were supposed to wait to start doing that?
Well, this
kind
is
of been
like,
doing that.
No, more like covering ISDE and World Enduro and
Dakar
all that
and
stuff.
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would be cool, kind of, because there's not really anybody that does it that I'm aware of. There may be, but I'm not aware
On
of
the
them.
Pipe podcast is like he covers GNCC stuff and some off-road stuff, and he's a cool dude. I see him every year at these GNCCs. But yeah, there's not a lot of that. MotoXpod@gmail.com if you want to give us your thoughts or contribute to any of the segments. But for this Race Tech open discussion, before we get going, a couple people I want to thank. Again, we were at the Yamaha intro for the 2025 Yamaha YZ250FX. All the embargo lifts tomorrow, so there'll be all kinds of content coming out about that bike. But I want to thank Eric Terrell, who owns the property where we did the intro. This guy has an amazing, I don't know how many acres this place is, but we had probably a 10-minute loop on his property, a 1 mile turn track, and enduro cross track. He's the owner of O2 Blast, like the oxygen, those little bottle canned oxygen. Mm-hmm. They sponsor Ampro Yamaha. So I want to thank him. I want to thank Randy Hawkins and Ampro Yamaha for supporting us as they always do at the GNCC races. And Yamaha bicycles, obviously. They had a ton of the e-bikes out there, the Moro 07s, for us to ride around at the course and go check the course out or just run around the pits. So thanks to everybody, Michael Rich, the whole crew with Yamaha for all that. Johnny Gallagher, thanks for loaning out one of your four-wheelers. Johnny's a very well-known and accomplished quad racer. He sponsors Walker Fowler. He brought one of his race quads, was on our team. So thanks to all those people for everything they did. And just a few other people, I'm getting all this out of the way real quick. Some of my friends, Cody and Mackenzie Mason and Naomi and their family, Pete and Tara Reddle, they hook us up when I'm out there at Ironman, fed me one day. Just part of the family out there, and just all the Discord guys that were out supporting Justin Starling and yelling for me and screaming Dark Side while I was out there riding. So Taylor, Ross, Brent, Elephant Cock, you guys, thanks for the screaming and yelling, man. It motivated me when I was exhausted. But let's, hell of an event at Ironman. I want to get RV on in a second, see if he answers. Did you guys? Seriously, quad racing. Would you ever do it if you had the opportunity?
If they said, "Hey, you're going to tag team in a race with RV and Bradshaw," I'd like, all right, yeah, I would.
That scenario, I would absolutely do it.
I know. I just wanted to give you a hard time.
Or if I didn't have to do anything like you did, I'd do it. It wouldn't have to be with RV and Bradshaw, but it would be cool to do. But I've ridden quads before, and I don't know, man.
Doing those on the trails sounds sketch.
Yeah. I'm already a tree magnet in the trail, so.
Let's see. I may have the first guest on. We'll see if he's here. Ryan, you there? Ryan. Yo.
Daddy.
I hear the kids. RV, where you at?
When I was in there, I heard your phone.
The kid picked up.
I think the kid picked up. Let's see if he answers. Ryan Villopoto. Yo. All right, we're trying back. He's at Paris for mini night, so we'll try him back here right now.
He's swapping the motor. Give him a second.
Yeah, he's probably forgot about it. Hang on, let's see if he's here. RV.
Hello?
Ryan.
Yo.
What up, dude?
What's going on, boys? I'm just scraping some mud off the front fender and rear fenders right now.
Yeah, you're at Paris for mini night. How the kids doing?
Mini night, yeah. We just got our first session in. Yeah, it's good. Good.
You got a couple minutes to talk about GNCC?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so we started off the show, and the boys started making fun of me for coming out of the closet for riding a quad. Let's tell them how it really is, RV. Quad life is no joke.
Oh, no, man. I mean, honestly, the whole program, honestly, like just GNCC in general, like I know it's been, I know they run for, 3 hours. We did the 2 hour 10 o'clock race. It was at 10 o'clock. It was a 2 hour race, but like, I'm going to be honest. Like, I mean, I actually got to experience it, right? A 2 hour moto. The quad was great. I mean, we got one lap on the quad, right? So if you had to do a 2 hour moto on a quad, like that would have been hell for sure.
No way I finished a 2 hour race on that thing. No way.
No, I mean, I could have finished it. We could have all finished it super, super slow, but obviously we were racing, right? So to a certain extent, we were racing all of ourselves, all the Yamaha personnel. And so it was a good time. Like it totally was. Big eye opener. How fast those boys can run them through the woods. And, they definitely don't get the credit. Actually, that whole side of that industry doesn't get the credit that that they deserve, I think, you know.
I fully agree. Let me talk to you Friday night. We're at dinner and you're kind of giving me shit, like telling me not to fuck up the team. And you know, that we know I'm the weak link, but you kind of effed up the start. You started for us and you blew that thing. I don't know what happened, man.
On the start, how did I blow it?
You maybe it was on the bike. You didn't take on. Oh, you were third. My bad. But you had it running. That's what I wanted to bring up. You left it running, which is not how it's supposed to go. You're supposed to kill it. You left it running and still didn't get the whole shot. That's what I want to make fun of you for.
Well, I didn't want to be a complete cheater. So yes, it's a dead engine start, right? Obviously, it was my first one. I didn't really catch the riders meeting, if they even had one. I don't know. So we go down there, and yes, I was told it was a dead engine start, but it was happening so quickly. The waves, you know, there was 2 or 3 waves in front of us, and I was putting my goggles on, and the bike was idling, and the 4-wheeler was idling. I just had idling, and pretty soon I'm looking, and shit, it's our road getting ready to go, and then my bike's still idling, and I'm like, well, fuck, nobody's yelling at me. So I'm like, shit, I'm just gonna leave it idling. So I left it idling, and I didn't blow off the line to like. I don't know if I could have pulled the whole shot anyways. The thing was kind of a beast out of off the gate there, you know? So, but yeah, came around third, had that Moto style, you know, trying to somewhat stand up, which doesn't really work ideal on a 4-wheeler.
No, nothing from Moto translates. And I think we were all kind of learning that as we went. So big learning experience. What was the most difficult part for you and what was the most enjoyable part of the quad race itself?
I don't know. I would say, I mean, it was just fun in general to try something new. I think all the spectators, all the fans, all the quad racers, GNC, like everybody there was like, you know, obviously stoked to see us trying something new, even if they raced a quad or haven't raced a quad or, you know, whatever the case may be. To have you know, any one of us jump on a quad, let alone go and race it, right? We had 0 seat time. We just jumped on these things and rode them. So to enter a race like that, and also a woods race, GNCC, you know, in the woods and on the track, like, I think that was the most surprising part for most people. And I think that was the cool part, that they were, you know, that all of us gave it a chance, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. I got that a lot. I know Fowler's going to be on in a little while, and he was messaging me and just saying, I really appreciate you guys doing that and actually trying it. Unlike a Chris Kiefer that we know that is just being a pussy.
Yeah. 100%. I think it's, I think it was cool to experience that, you know, and then the Sunday 10 a.m. race, you know, just like, you know, I didn't really know what to expect. You know, I didn't know if I could just literally, I think I've raced one other race that's been a 2-hour long race before, but I was 17 years old, 16 years old when I did it.
Yeah.
I've never raced that long on that gnarly of a track and with being this out of shape for 2 hours. You know, that was the biggest thing. It's like, yeah, for 2 hours, okay, yeah, it's a long time, but typically I would be doing that somewhat in shape, not 9 years retired and out of shape. So that was a big ass kicker for sure. But I had a blast, man. The 125X, that YZ 125X it was obviously underpowered compared to 350s and 450s and things like that. But I told him to bring me an FX model or an X, and we had an X, and I was actually stoked because just how light it was. You know, it wasn't super fast, so I was able to ride it longer and faster than I probably could have rode a 250F or for sure a 450. You know, so
yeah.
But yeah, the trails were the track was gnarly. It was that poof dirt. I mean, I think we had such a massive blast, right? Like, I did flame my bike out. I stalled it on the line because I started in first gear, pulled the clutch and started it. It fired, but I went too soon and it just fogged out and died. So I started basically 65th in our row,
yeah.
And worked my way up, you know, but it didn't matter if you pulled the whole shot. You were going to be in some type of traffic, either lapping somebody or getting passed by somebody, because I think there was like, I don't even know, right? 751 riders on the track at one time.
I was real close to 700. I looked and it's like 650 counted, and then there's a whole bunch of DNFs. So it was 700 plus probably. Yeah.
So that was gnarly, right? Like winning or losing or getting lapped, it didn't matter. You were either getting past or passing somebody.
Yep. Almost nonstop.
So, but yeah, it was a blast. I definitely will, would definitely jump in and do another one.
Okay. I was going to ask you that in a minute, but Scott, you got a question?
Yeah. So Ryan, you guys, I saw y'all on the line on one of Phil's videos, and dude, you had the most spaced out look on your face. And I was like, dude, I wonder how many Coors Lattes RV had last night and how this race is going to go. So it's cool to see you guys do that, man. Had to been a hell of a weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was. The fans were stoked. Everybody was stoked to have us all out there. All the media, just everybody that showed up. So I had fun and definitely will do it again.
So if you'll do it again, does that mean we might get to see you on a moto track on a quad?
See, I'd rather ride it in the woods than try to have to jump it.
Yep.
So I got very, very flirted with some trees big time a few times on the 4-wheeler and on the bike.
Yeah.
But I think I'd rather for sure ride the 4-wheeler in the woods than try to have to jump them.
I had buddies with some growing up, and I tried jumping them once or twice, and I'll never do it again. It's terrifying.
Yes, totally. So, yeah, that's about it, man. I enjoyed it, and we'll try to get back out. So.
Yeah, you did clip a couple trees on the bike, all right? You and Bradshaw, and I mean all the fast guys, I think, annihilated a couple trees.
Yeah, I got one that was hanging in the trail pretty good with the side of my helmet and the back, like the top of my shoulder. Like, I mean, I'm still sore today.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I'm getting summoned to get fuel on the bikes and get back out for Moto 2. So,
all right, RV. We'll see. Are you going to be at Vets this weekend? I can't remember.
I am going to actually probably come out. I got a buddy racing, Leon Capps, coming down from Washington. So he'll be out there.
See you this weekend. Tell the boys good luck.
All right, boys.
All right, later,
RV.
All right, that's Ryan Villopoto. Had a few more questions for him, but he was on a tight schedule. So,
mini dad.
Yeah, for sure. But I was going to ask him. He was telling me Rachael Archer, 3-time champion now. They were kind of battling, and he was like, "Hell, I'm not going to let her beat me." And I think he did the double that I was telling you about. There's like a little double coming off the motocross or onto the motocross track before the finish that he did, and he said he passed her and just pinned it wide open through the whoops. So, I was want to ask him about that, but we'll see if Rachael remembers that when we get her on in a little bit. But a lot of fun at these GNCCs, tons of cool stuff. The intro that I talked about for Yamaha at Eric Terrell's place was amazing, dude. I'm really, as I've said, falling in love with this off-road stuff. It's hard. I get arm pump and I'm locked up. But it's something I want to do more of. I want to figure out how to train for that so that I don't get arm cramps and locked up.
2-hour motos.
Yeah, the 2-hour race, which you guys tell me if my math adds up. Okay, so I'm looking here. I finished in front of Phil. I was a lap down, technically. Not technically, literally.
Yeah, the beginning of the sports team past you.
I finished the race in 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 9.59 seconds. So 2:04, okay? Phil finished in 2:10.21. I finished this race 6 minutes faster than he did.
Yeah, but you did a less of a lap.
Shut up. I finished
tried to do this last year, too.
On paper, he did it faster.
Yeah, my race time was 6 minutes faster.
Then why is your overall ranking less than his?
Scotty? I'm going to mute you.
I think it was a scoring issue, honestly.
I don't know, man. It's a timed race, and I did it in less time.
I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's my math adds up. So I beat Phil Nicoletti. So are we going to get you guys out there?
Dude, yeah, I would love to.
I'd do one. Like, after hearing Phil talk about it and everything, I'd do one, I think.
I've done some of the local ones, so yeah, like I would want to do one of those would be cool.
Yeah. Phil wasn't with us for the Yamaha intro, so I didn't see him till like at the course, but Friday night, and we're sitting around dinner, and Michael Rich from Yamaha showing videos of Howard's Hole from Snowshoe, and then showing videos of Ironman Hill, because Damon and RV hadn't watched any of this. They really had no idea what they were in for, and they were just like, "Oh shit!" Like they didn't realize. I don't think they comprehended how many people are on the course, how wild they get. You know, there's talk of like stopping and having a beer with the listener or the fans while they're out there trying to help you up these hills. It's nuts, and they get a little more rowdy on the 4-wheeler day because like Sunday they're all kind of hungover, right? I would say it was pretty equal. Yeah, it was pretty equal.
Everybody's looking forward to Ironman. They're just going to push through. Yeah. Persevere.
Lap 2 of the 2-wheeled race, I had a guy crash in front of me on a hill and hit me in the front wheel, and I was like, he hit me and I bounced off the side. It bent my rotor and I was losing momentum and I was almost at the top of this hill. So I just launched the bike to the top so I didn't have to fall back down. And it bent the handlebars. So I went a lap and a half, maybe a little less than a lap and a half with no front brake, bent handlebars.
Yeah, I'm out on that.
Had I gotten the white flag when I got the checkered at the end of 3, I think I would have quit. And I would have just had to deal with the work. I did
pull in
not.
the pins and get them to bend that rotor back.
Yeah, no. It was.
I would have definitely used the rotor as an
If I was
excuse to
if I
quit.
was under the factory Yamaha tent, I would have like, hey.
Well, I'd have to find where they are, where they're pitted. Like I knew there was a pit area, but I wasn't like close to it at the time. And
You didn't have a factory mechanic there?
I mean, there were some. There were some mechanics there that would have helped, but I was going to be out. There's a couple hills. Anybody that raced it knows. It's just downhill. It's like straight down in the silt, and at the bottom there's a big tree and a little tree, and it hangs a right in front of the tree. If you can't get stopped, you just smoke the tree. So the whole lap leading up to that, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this with no front brake. But I did it. I made it, but it was scary. It was just super, super scary. I think I told you guys before the show, and I've mentioned on years past, like I've pushed out and went around Ironman Hill more than once. I couldn't find a way around this year, so you just had to go for it. Felt really, really good when you got to the top, but it was literally, to me, terrifying hitting those hills. It's just scary.
Thinking about it the whole lap after.
Yeah,
as soon
I'm like,
as you
I
get
don't
done
wanna
with
do
it,
this.
yeah, as soon as you get done with it,
I
that's
don't
all
want
that's
to
on
do
your
this,
mind.
and then you get to it, and you're just like, oh well, and dude,
How much bigger was it than that one we did at that hard enduro at Barnwell?
Oh, it's way steeper and bigger. Yeah, I didn't do anything at Barnwell that was even close to Ironman Hill.
Really?
No, nothing even close. And it's not like the stuff that I remember at Barnwell is like slow. This is like
fast.
pin it and you're straight up. So like if you lose momentum, you just fall down a cliff basically.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's that's what I don't know that you could walk up these hills.
Oh wow.
It's gnarly. Just a lot of fun. I think anybody that's been out there kind of knows, but I'd love for you guys to experience it if you could come out sometime. I'm not supposed to say a whole lot about my thoughts on the FX, but what I will say is at the beginning of this year, I did Big Buck on the 450 for the 450 FX intro, and I really, really liked that bike. I was very surprised how usable that power is. If I had to pick a bike, I'm taking the 250 FX.
Oh wow.
450 is just so much in the woods, especially if you
It's not bad the way that bike's designed,
Right.
But this 250 FX, this new one, is really, really good. So I'm looking forward to everybody seeing the reviews on it. We're going to get Rachael Archer on just in a minute. Kind of looking, I'm trying to think about anything else that we want. I feel like just a few other things I want to talk about GNCC, but I really wanted to get into it with RV. Here's what I'll tell you. I think anybody would enjoy this and know this. To get a chance to go to an event like this intro and hang out for 4 days with Ryan Villopoto and Damon Bradshaw, and like Justin Starling's there, and RJ Wageman was there, and all the people that work for Yamaha, but to hang out, to do a quad race, I don't give a shit if it's a quad race. I told Walker, yeah, I've made fun. I've joked about you guys before. I mean, we joke about it, right? It looks a little funny sometimes riding a quad. I always had some respect for those guys. It's doubled now. Yeah. It's so much more impressive. But my point that I started with this is to think that I would get an opportunity to go do a team race, 4-wheeler or 2 wheels, with Ryan Villopoto, Damon Bradshaw, and Johnny Gallagher. Like a couple years ago, I would have never believed it. So I feel very, very fortunate. I'm very thankful. It's just a hell of an experience to get to do that. And yeah, we're sitting around Friday night, right? And RV's looking over me at dinner, and there were some drinks going on because there was actually a minimum amount that we were supposed to spend before, I guess it cost them more if you didn't meet this minimum drink level.
Oh, at the restaurant?
Yeah.
I've
so
seen
they're
that.
like, yeah, keep drinking. And so the boys that drink were drinking, and RV looks over at me and he's like, Darkside, don't F this up for us. We're here to win. Don't you quit. You better do well. We're counting on you. Don't screw this up. And Bradshaw was like, yeah, don't fuck this up. I looked at RV and I was like, I'm not the one that quits. You quit MXGP. How about you're starting? Don't loop that thing out.
Yeah.
So, it's just fun to really have that opportunity to mess with these guys and talk to these guys and go through that. It's just an experience I would have never thought I'd have.
Yeah, if you'd have said somebody would have said that to you 2 years ago when you're digging ditches, it would have been like, you're fucking crazy.
No way.
Dude.
No way would this ever happen, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm just thankful. I'm thankful to Vital MX and the opportunity. to do this. It was a great experience. I'm going to write more detail about the story for Vital MX. That'll be coming out soon. I'll do a story about the whole weekend.
You did seem pretty chipper today.
Yeah,
Didn't like half hate your life. So yeah, I guess you got to do some more woods riding.
You know, when I'm doing it, when I'm out there, I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah, same. The couple I've done this year, I'm like, what the am I doing out here?
All right,
and then when I get done, I'm like, I feel like I don't care if I was 10, 20 minutes off the pace of my class. Like, I finished it, and like,
it's rewarding.
It's when you get done, you're like, yeah, okay, that was a lot. The fact that I survived that is a lot.
This just hit me right now. Okay, I'm going to set a goal. I have a question I'm going to put out to our off-road riders, and we'll ask our pros too that we're about to talk to. The question is, what kind of training can I do to get past the hand cramps and the arm pump of off-road? Because I'm not pushing super hard. I'm just trying to flow, but it happens like I get blown up right away, and you can't grip for the first hour. Yeah, and it takes a while to loosen that up. So I want to get through that. So maybe there's some tricks and some tips that I don't know. So if you, I think MotoXpod@gmail.com, if you can help with that, go ahead. Because
I did one where I was totally not in the shape I needed to be in to try to attempt this race, but I went for it anyways. And one of my friends had some CBD cream, and I just like coated my arms in it. And the beginning of the race, I was like middle of the pack, and like people were lawn darting everywhere. It was ruts and it was chaos. And I tightened up, but as soon as I got away from somebody, I was like, all right, well, my arms are going to be tight for the rest of the race. And they, within like 5 minutes, they went back.
That stuff helps a lot with inflammation.
Yeah, so
I need to try that. Like when I went and did the intro, we rode for an hour and a half. And I was fine the whole time.
Yeah, because you weren't in a pressure situation.
So I got to figure, like, if some of it's probably breathing, all that, and and you're trying to, but I'm not trying to just rip through and be like, I'm going to go all out. Like, I'm just riding at a decent pace, but I'm getting locked up, and then you can't get to your clutch lever, and it's really rough, and you're maybe almost clipping trees, and you're kind of whiskey throttling a little bit. So I want to get past that, but I think if I could figure that out, my goal, if I can do this again next year, is to do 4 full laps.
You're probably just going to
I haven't wanted to do that ever. I'm always like, I only want to do 3.
Well, you got to.
I just decided.
You got to stop you got to be fast enough for the sportsman guys not to catch you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But I got lapped. The first time I got lapped, Brandy Richards went by with probably 4 or 5 miles to go. So
you're close.
I'm not that far off if I didn't have my crashes. One of them took a while.
That's 10, 15 minutes you're going to have to gain on Brandy Richards.
Yeah. But maybe I can do that. Like, I think I could do that if I didn't have arm pump and I didn't basically stop 4 or 5 times for crashes or even just to catch my breath. Like, maybe I could.
Well, and your front brake went out for the last lap.
That didn't help either. Yeah. So I think it's realistic that I could do the 4th lap.
4 laps, yeah.
So that's going to be my goal. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, reach out, help me out. Because I would like to do that. I want to do more of these.
Someone in the chat said just ride more.
Yeah.
But I'm riding a ton of
it's a different kind of riding though.
Okay, so we don't have anywhere.
Go to Barnwell.
Yeah. I don't want to go to Barnwell either, but yeah, that's what you're going to have to do.
Maybe that's what I need to do.
Miles and miles and miles of single track.
Yeah, maybe that's what I need to do. I think we got our first scheduled guest of the night on. She's going to be brought to you tonight by Guts Racing. Andy Gregg and the Guts Racing crew continue to provide the best seats and foam available. If you want the same seats used by Rockstar, Husqvarna, Hep Suzuki, and many more, then you need Guts Racing. They have numerous color possibilities, staple or Velcro installation options, wing seats, and the best foam in the business with the Phantom Ultralight seat foam. So don't forget, they have complete seats for the Talari and Super 73 and covers for the Sur on the Segway, and they strive to ship orders within 36 hours. Visit gutsracing.com. Let them know the MotoXpod show sent you. Tonight, Guts Racing brings the 3-time WXC champion, Rachael Archer. What's up, Rachel?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. Good to talk to you. Hasn't been that long since we've talked, but it's been a little bit since you've been on the show. Congratulations on 3 freaking titles in a row.
Yeah, thanks. Pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Has it set in that, what's the most titles a woman rider has, WXC champion?
Tough question. I think 4 or 5.
Okay, so you got a couple more to go. Is that important to you? Do you want to be the winningest rider in history? Does that matter?
Yeah, sort of. That would be pretty cool.
Okay, that's fair. Well, that's awesome. We'll get more into all that stuff here in a minute. Listen, new team this year. The last 2 titles were with Ampro Yamaha. You moved over to Stu Baylor's Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki team. First year team, a new bike. You come away with 5 wins and 10 podiums. What were your expectations coming into the season before you even got on the Kawasaki? Just what did you think this year would go like?
I always had high hopes. Obviously, I like to win and very competitive person, but I honestly didn't know how everything was going to go. I was pretty nervous, but I knew, like, coming from a jet bike and going to a jet bike, it was going to be pretty easy to adjust. So I wasn't too worried about it, but yeah, stoked on how the season went. I had a few ups and downs, obviously, but we got there in the end and got some good results, so that's all that matters. With
moving to the Kawasaki, from the moto side, and even listen to Stu talk a little bit, we know the Yamahas are probably the most powerful bikes, OEM bikes, and then once, obviously you guys hop them up a little bit here and there, but was there a massive difference in horsepower and the way the bike performed in the woods?
Honestly, riding 2 bikes stock back to back, the Cowie felt like it had way more bottom. The Yamaha is really strong in the mid range and it keeps pulling, but the Cowie was really strong and I was surprised when I first rode it. I felt really comfortable on it straight away, just riding the stock bike. So I knew it was going to be a good season from that day onwards.
Good deal.
So Darkside said something about you switching over to the Stu Baylor's team. I was curious what it's like working with him. He's a bit of a wild man from what I can tell.
Yeah, me and Stu have been buddies for a few years now, so it was quite an easy switch. We get on well, and there's lots of good riders on the team, and we all have good camaraderie under the tent. So, it wasn't hard to switch, and everything's been pretty smooth sailing. There's been a few changes, obviously, from riding to Ampro, but nothing's been bad. And yeah, I've got nothing bad to say about Stu or the team or anything.
Yeah, it seems like he'd make it a pretty fun environment to be in.
Yeah, it's cool. There's always fans and stuff under the tent. Stu gave someone a tattoo under the tent on Friday night.
Hell yeah.
Going on, and it keeps it fun.
Nice.
What was the tattoo?
It was actually a guy had an amputee arm, and Stu wrote his signature on the guy's arm, and then he said, "I'm going to get this tattooed." And we were like, "Well, our buddy JoJo's got a tattoo machine. Why don't we just get Stu can do it for you?" And so that's what happened.
That's awesome.
But he
Yeah.
the tattoo to just SB514 because his signature was going to take too long to.
That's awesome.
That's still pretty awesome.
That actually is the epitome of a GNCC fan right there.
That's a cool story.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
I love it. What you got, Scotty?
It reminds me of that scene from Talladega Nights where the dad's he's like, I'm a volunteer firefighter and an amateur tattoo artist. Yeah. I own a GNCC team, and I do some tattoos on the side.
I would let Stu tattoo me.
I would too.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I don't think you'd like what Stu would give you.
People
though.
take tattoos way too seriously.
Yeah, I would definitely let Stu. We know that. You know what? We're adding that to the list. So I just made a new goal, Rachel. I have yet to do 4 laps in the 2-hour race. I always only get 3 before usually you lap me. So my goal is to do 4 laps next year. I don't know exactly how far off I was. I know that you weren't far behind Phil, I don't think, but Phil was right behind me. So I don't know. I got to make up that time, but that's my goal next year is 4 laps and now to get tattooed by Stu Baylor.
Better start training now then.
Yeah, I better. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, because she's not going to slow down for you.
Yeah, I know. We'll get to all that. Go ahead, Scott.
Rachel, speaking of all the fans and being under their team like that, and What is it like to be a role model for young women racers coming up? How's that class looking like for the younger groups? And do you have any cool stories or experiences that you've gotten from being like that role model for those kind of riders?
Yeah, it's awesome. There's lots of young girls coming up, which is really cool to see. And I actually lent my practice bike to a girl called Paisley, and she rode in the women's amateur race in the weekend. So that was pretty cool. She got third, and yeah, that was cool to see her on my bike out there. But no, the women's class is looking strong, and there's a few young girls that are ripping in the 65 class and also in the 85 class in the youth race. So we should have a strong WXC in the years to come.
Awesome. Yeah, it's definitely been growing. You and I, we've had you on a few times, and we talk about it every year. The women's class has gotten stronger. Brandy was very competitive this year. I think she also had 5 wins. And I'm sure that makes it probably a lot more fun for you. I mean, yes, you want to win every race, but having some competition makes it a lot more exciting. And having girls like her and Corey Steed, it's exciting to watch, you know. And I don't usually get to watch it because when I'm there, I'm trying not to be lapped by you guys, but it's getting bigger and bigger. And I think the recognition that you guys, we always say you deserve, it's growing. I think people are starting to take notice.
Yeah, for sure. Like this year, we've all worked really hard, and the class is getting really competitive, and like the girls are going pretty fast now. Like a few years ago, we definitely weren't going this fast and riding at like this capability. I feel like everyone's like living at training facilities now and just taking everything a lot more serious. So yeah, it's like I've done a lot of testing and stuff this year and really tried to focus on my technique and mop up some of my bad habits. But yeah, like living at the shoals this year has helped me a lot. And just having people like Stephen Squire and Stu and everyone in my corner to help keep improving has been really important in my career so far.
Yeah, for sure. With the new team, and Stu has openly said, hey, it was a little more difficult than he thought. His time was spread a little thin. And again, a new team, right? Next year, full factory support, but this year you didn't have full factory support. So were there moments this year just logistically with parts, bikes, whatever, it was a little more difficult than you'd hoped for?
No, I mean, I still had a personal factory Cowie deal, so
okay.
I suffered from any of that. But yeah, I mean, Stu always I think Stu's scared of me a little bit, but he always made sure I had everything I needed. And yeah, I mean, he knows how badly I want to win, so he always sort of puts my stuff at the top of the list, and I always have what I need. And I've worked closely with my mechanic Trent, and we've got to know each other pretty well this year, so that's been cool to like get close with him and just figure out a good system. And yeah, we had a few mishaps earlier in the year just with like calculating fuel consumption and that. But
yep.
You know, he's still real young, and like he's matured a lot this year, and he's learning as he goes, and he does an awesome job, and I'm super proud of him. So it's cool to win a championship with him his first year too.
Yeah, that's cool that you were able to win the title with those learning steps. And you told me you still have a couple years on your contract. Stu broke some news. I guess it's not like top secret news within the industry, but he has hired Ryan Sipes to become the team manager next year, and he'll be able to take some of that load off of Stu. So maybe next year things run even smoother. You'll have more data from the bike. So yeah, maybe 4 in a row next year, but things are looking really good for the future with you and the team.
Yeah, for sure. And like the first year on the team, obviously everyone's still getting to know how everyone works and what environment works best for everyone. So every race has been a bit of a learning curve, but we got to the finish line. So yeah, I think there will be definitely starting on the front foot for sure. So yeah, that'll be good.
Tell me how this championship compares to, say, the first one in 22. Again, all the things we've already talked about, the competition getting stronger. Do they feel similar? Is one more special or one more difficult than the other?
The first one is definitely the most special for sure, but like, I don't know, they all feel different. Like the first one was just awesome because I felt like I'd finally accomplished my lifetime goal that I'd had from when I was a little girl, and my dad surprised me at that race, so it made it even better to have him there at the finish line.
Yeah.
And yeah, but no, they all feel special for sure.
Okay.
So being a monster athlete definitely opened some doors for you. I was curious, like, what's the coolest thing you've gotten to do just being in business with Monster?
I don't know. Like, everyone thinks my Monster Ithaca hats are pretty cool.
All right, yeah. But no cool, like, I mean, you get to,
like, all the freebies, and, like, you get to go behind the scenes at, like, outdoor nationals, stuff like that. Just knowing everyone in the industry is a good tool to have in your toolbox.
yeah, but what about, like, other events, maybe concerts or just another event? Have you gotten any cool access to something outside of moto?
No, not this year. I've been flat out racing every weekend.
Yeah. All right. Scotty? You got one? I got more if you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I wanted to talk to you about ISDE real quick. I got a bunch more stuff I want to get to, but you did your first ISDE, second overall, as I recall, and you were telling me a little bit of some story. So about your dad helping you out, because I hadn't thought about this. New Zealand's team is really a lot smaller effort than what the U.S. puts in. So just talk about your overall experience having your dad there, what he was having to go through, and just, yeah, kind of fill us in how Spain went.
Yeah, it was quite an experience. It rained every single day, so that was pretty miserable, having to walk all the tests in the rain. You're always wet and cold. But, no, I really enjoyed it. The riding was epic, and I probably come a little underprepared just because I didn't really know, like, what I was getting myself into as such, like, just never having been before. But I sort of overrode the first 2 days, and I crashed a lot. Just the bike was a lot different. We had to detune it to make it pass sound check because it was a stock Cowie, and you've got to be under 111 decibels. So the bike was really slow, and it wasn't running that great from the start. But I tried my hardest, and got a few test wins throughout the week, and was able to pull off second overall and 54th outright out of everyone, out of the trophy team. So, but yeah, just the support, we were lacking a lot of support. Like, my dad would run from, I remember on one of the enduro tests, he ran from 4 different spots to catch me during the test to point me lines, and then he would sprint back to the finish to hand me my bum bag back at the test so I could ride the transfer. So he was, yeah, I'd hate to see how many steps he was doing each day, but I was super grateful to have him there because I don't think I could have done it without him.
Yeah, that's got to be really special. And then just, yeah, for him to, I mean, he probably had the heart rate the same as yours, but the same amount of exercise he had to put in. So I didn't consider that when I was looking at the results, that the program was much smaller. So I think that should add a little bit of pride to you, you know, that you had to go, you didn't have it quite as easy, but still accomplished such a great goal. And like I said, when we talked Saturday, you know, next year you'll have a little more experience and maybe move up to that top step.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully. It's tough competing against America, honestly. Like,
I get it.
They have a physio and like 100 people helping everyone out. Like, out on the test, there's got to be 50 people out there pointing lines, and they'd all cross their. They saw me, but That was probably the most disheartening thing. Was like I would get to a mud hole or something, and there would be all the Americans that I know, like over here, and they'd all just stand there and cross their arms. And in one of the tests, I yelled out, "Come on, America!"
Yeah, that's messed up, man. Hey, yeah, that's not cool. They should have helped you out a little bit. I mean,
yeah. I mean, they knew, like, we only had a women's trophy team and then one club rider and, like, no support out on the tests or anything. So I thought, like, they would be a bit courteous. And, I mean, I was trying to get in between America and Aussie to, like, break up the points a bit. So, yeah, I thought they might have helped me a little bit.
I could see where, that would be disheartening, man. Yeah, that's a bummer. But still, you showed them, though. Second overall women's, crushing it. Nothing to be disappointed by. So that's still killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how does some of the, I've watched these ISDEs the last couple of years. I never really knew about it before, but last year I watched it and it was like desert. And then this year it was like muddy woods, kind of, I don't know what, like it was different, very unique. And then obviously the format being on riding for multiple days in a row and the different rules and the tire changing and what tools from GNCC help you the most in there, and what is it like competing on such vast different varieties of terrain and the different format?
The biggest thing that I had to adjust to was riding on the 6-day tires. They just pack up with mud and they don't get much traction or like fronting grip especially. That was the biggest thing I was struggling with, was adjusting to the front tire. But I used the same mousses the whole time, so my mechanic would switch mousses between, and then I'd change new tires every day. But it's a long day on the bike, but it's cool riding, and like it's not that like strenuous. Like, yes, you've just got to keep going, but it's not like you're racing a GNCC for 6 days in a row. It's like you're trail riding and then you go fast for 10 minutes and then you trail ride again.
Yeah.
Like, it's quite cool. I would listen to like 5 different songs the morning of the race and memorize them and just sing throughout the day while I was riding the transfers. It seemed to help the time go by a bit quicker.
Rachel, you got to get on my program. I've got an iPod Shuffle Velcroed to my helmet with earbuds built into the helmets, all my helmets. So I listen to music for 2 hours Sunday.
They make them change their tires at the end of the race. They're not letting them listen to music.
Yeah, the Cardos would be perfect for that, but you're not allowed to stick anything to your helmet.
Yeah, I have the Cardo earbuds, and then they just plug in with an auxiliary cord to the Shuffle, and you could cut a little slot in your somewhere and probably hide that thing. But no, I don't know. I listen to music the whole time, so it works for me. But I get what you're saying. Rachael Archer tonight, brought to you by Guts Racing. I've got a few more questions I want to get into, and we've got a couple questions from the Vital MX forum. I had heard, I don't think you told me this, but somebody else mentioned that you were considering racing a different class this weekend. Was that a possibility originally? Were you thinking about doing a different class?
In the past, like last year, I was going to race XC3, but it sort of fell apart at the end. So
okay.
But no, this year I was always just going to race WXC.
I mean, just at Ironman. I'm sorry, at the finals after you won the title.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I thought about it, but I kind of just wanted to try and win to make some more money, you know?
Sure.
Because if I raced another class, I wouldn't have made any money. So
okay. If you had picked a different class, would it have been XC2 or would you have jumped on our program and ran a quad?
I don't know. I'll race a quad one day. I don't think I'd be any good, but I have to go. But XC2 is like a dog fight. They're all trying to kill each other. I don't know how I'd love to ride a 2-stroke, honestly.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Get out there and show RV what was up. He was on that 125.
Yeah, 2-strokes are cool.
Okay, so I sent you a text earlier. I want to get a story from you about like your best day riding outside of racing, whether it's just, you went road with your dad or your buddies and it's just a fun ride. Got to do something really cool. I don't know. Maybe you went down to Baja or just whatever stands out. I want your best day of riding.
Back home in New Zealand, we do a lot of adventure riding. And one day, it was on one of the KTM adventure rallies. I borrowed one of my dad's best friends, Sean Clark. He lent me a 09 450 XC, and it had hardly any brakes. And it clapped out. I don't think it had any fork oil left, but I was ripping this thing. I remember looking down on this forestry road, and I was going 140 k's.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I was riding with all my buddies and stuff in the forest. It was pretty epic. And there's actually some good footage on YouTube of that day. A guy called Flounder Productions posts a lot of videos, Charlie Richardson, and we ended up like racing through the woods, and we all had cardos on, and my brakes weren't working. I lost my brakes, and we were in like this trail section. I came over the brow of the hill, and someone like slowed down real fast, and I couldn't stop, and I just cleaned them out.
Oh no!
And it's all, and we were all yelling at each other in the cardos. It was
Yeah, probably at the time it was terrifying, but now it's a fun story. I dig that. That's the kind of that's what I want to hear. Couple more things. Once, let's say you win another title or two and your contract's up. Is there something else you'd like to do career-wise, or do you just want to keep doing WXC and keep going? Do you have something you'd like to move into, whether just anything?
Yeah, there's a few, I'd like to do Dakar one day. I've always sort of looked at that and thought that was pretty cool. Race Loretta's one day. I don't know. There's a few things on my list. There's a few races. Maybe go down to the Baja and do some of those. Just whatever doors open in the next few years, we'll see.
Okay, those are good good bucket list items to start checking off. One more question before we get to the listener questions. This is the first GNCC I've done, this is my fifth one. I think the first one that you did not lap me. Does that mean I'm getting better, or did you have a little bit of a bad day?
I think I broke my foot at that race.
Really? Sunday?
Oh, you're talking about this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend was the first time you didn't lap me, that I remember.
Oh. Yeah, no. You must be getting better.
I'll take it, Rachel. That's what I wanted to hear.
Now we're never going to hear the end of it.
I actually just got a text from Phil. He said
she was trying to beat RV. She didn't worry.
Yeah,
she wasn't
Phil
worried
said
about
you were 42-minute lap times. I was 30 to 31. Not bad. I got a compliment from Filthy Phil Nicoletti.
So you're gonna keep saying that you beat him though?
Yeah, Rachel. My math. Listen, you tell me if my math adds up. Okay. I finished the race Sunday in 2 hours, 4 minutes, 9 seconds. Phil finished in 2 hours and 10 minutes. I got done before he did. I finished before him. That math adds up.
Denial is not just a river in Egypt.
All right, let's get to some of these vital questions so Rachel can get off here and quit messing with us. All right, this is from Cooper Nickus on Vital MX Forum. He says there are a number of New Zealand and Australian off-road racers who race or have raced GNCC over the years, and I was wondering how and why you made a decision to pursue GNCC.
It's like America is the hub for racing off-road as a living, and it's about the only place you can do it and make a living. So I made the move over here when I left school, and just followed my dream to be a professional dirt bike rider, and worked my butt off, and here we are.
All right. He also asked, are you aware that people who ride the industry class talk about you in multiple ways, the women I think he means, such as don't want to be lapped by WXC, those WXC riders are no joke, and if I get lapped by WXC, I won't have to ride one more lap. That would be me. What do you think of those comments that, when you guys are the fastest usually group, the class of the group, that the other classes are aware and kind of talking about you?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool feeling. It sort of makes you feel like your hard work's paying off, and it's epic that everyone can see your talent out there, and
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no doubt that you ladies are just absolutely crushing it. Lung Butter, this is the last one. Lung Butter on Vital MX Forum. Did you ship 2 complete bikes to ISD to have spare parts, given that Kawasaki's support is non-existent at the event?
No, I just rented one bike off Jolly Race Team, and then I took some parts with me to put on the bike. It was completely stocked.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Well, again, you may do, Rachel. It's been a hell of a career watching you in the last few years, and I think you still have a long way to go. So I appreciate you giving us some time. It's always a pleasure to see you. And yeah, I don't know what's next over the next couple of months, but hopefully you'll get some downtime, some enjoyment, and get ready for 2025. It'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, definitely need some downtime for sure. Hopefully get back to New Zealand for a couple of weeks over Christmas and see all my family and that, and then get back here and get stuck into some off-season training.
All right, Rachel, we'll see you. I don't know. I have no idea what my schedule is next year, but I'm sure I'll see you at a few rounds, and we'll get you back on the show once the season starts.
Awesome, thanks.
Okay, have a good night. See ya.
Yeah.
Bye. That's Rachael Archer tonight, brought to you by Guts Racing. Great interview. You guys want to jump into Yamaha highs and lows real quick?
Sure.
Since we kind of jumped past those to get, all right, Yamaha Motor USA has a reputation for dominance. It doesn't happen overnight. It's built over decades. The YZ story is over 50 years of iconic machines and groundbreaking innovations. Yamaha took the championship-winning bikes and made them even better because the best don't rest. Check them out at YamahaMotorsports.com. Don't forget the YZ 250FX is, I believe it's available now. The reviews should be out tomorrow. And yeah, just go to your local dealership. Check out the bikes. I'll have the 25 450F at Glen Helen this weekend for vets. That's going to be a blast. Yamaha highs and lows. Anybody want to go first?
My lows are definitely, I don't even want to give you credit for, not give you credit, but say this, but.
Oh, I hope it's what I think it,
yeah,
what
I'm
my
not gonna
high
say
is.
it. Yeah. Your high is my low.
Okay.
And then actually I'm on honestly, like I'm at this point in this season, I'm not even
You got to
like,
say what it is. People may not know.
the Cowboys aren't even my low anymore because I didn't have a high coming into it. Like I knew it was going to be low, so I was like just expecting the worst. And
Yeah.
y'all aren't having a great year either. It was
No, they're
it
not
wasn't
perfect.
pretty.
They look pretty good.
Yeah.
They look pretty good against Cowboys, and I was
So
telling
did the
people at
Lions
the
and the
event, I'm
Ravens
about
and
to
the-
sneeze. Keep talking. I'm about to sneeze.
But my highs were just hanging out, and there was some Supercross on TV. Watching Tomac do a wheelie through the whoops, was pretty cool to see, and just it was just a good weekend. Just
The 49er Cowboy game was on my highs, and I was like at dinner Sunday night. I was like, I got to get out of here. I got to go watch this game. And Dan was like, a game? What the? Like, he's like, I thought it was crazy. I was like, look, man, I love my 49ers, and I hate the Cowboys more than I love the 49ers, so this is a big game.
49ers, quads, you're making a tough case.
Okay, all right, man. Crocs and Cowboys.
Yeah.
But the Cowboys actually kept it closer than I thought. But that was my high.
I'm so glad I don't care about football because this has zero bearing on my life. No stress.
I still love it.
I mean, I'll watch
yeah.
it, but I don't give a shit anymore.
My other high is just everything. Everything over the weekend was a high.
Yeah, you had a cool.
Minus the arm pump. I put arm pump as my low.
My low is that I'm jealous of you that I didn't get to go like ride GNCC and Ironman and
just because I'm awesome and you're not, and you wear Crocs.
It only took you.
You should try not wearing
years.
the Crocs and see if that changes your life. I has to.
What?
It
couldn't
just has
hurt.
to.
It couldn't hurt.
Yeah, there's no way it's gonna hurt.
I don't.
It can only go up.
Maybe
I don't wear them when when I go to. When I went to the SMX in Dallas, I'm wearing them right now because I'm
wearing them right now.
You can't see them
in
on
my
feet.
house.
But SMX, I just like I wore them to the press box. I knew better than that.
Thank God.
Dude.
What are your highs and lows? Yamaha highs and lows.
My high was Enzo. He did pretty damn good.
Yeah, some good rides.
He's had a rough last 8-6, we're right at a year, a little over a year at this point.
With his wrist.
Yeah, it's been rough for him. It's good to see him do well. And low is probably not being able to ride right now because I suck and blew my knee apart somewhat.
A little bit of an injury, yep.
Yeah. It's not bad, but I do miss riding. So,
all right, Yamaha Motorsports highs and lows. Thanks again to those guys for this weekend. If you're in the California area and come out to Glen Helen this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of cool people. RV's coming out. Phil's going to be there. Obviously, Kiefer, Mathis. So be a lot of, I'm sure Dubak will be there. It's going to be a lot of, there's always a lot of fun
cool
people. A lot of
to go and do.
Hey, man, yeah,
Quit sucking so much.
Yeah.
Quit wearing Crocs. Yeah, I just got a text from Racer X, Fight, all the journalists, and they said, you can't work in the industry wearing Crocs. Just everybody texted at the same time.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is crazy.
All
Crazy.
the
nuts.
MX bikes, like royalty dudes, are in the chat.
Yeah,
Fat
everybody's
Muppets,
excited.
Oh
Steve.
yeah. We got Chauncy Sharp, aka Reaper Doc.
Yeah,
if you're
they're
a
all-
gamer, I guess you know about this. I'm not a huge gamer. I'm gonna be learning a lot tonight, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. We got Walker Fowler coming up first. The guys just hang on.
You might need to switch them because they're all freaking out.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, man. Walker's up in 5 minutes, and then Chauncey is. Let's see. Hang on.
RD's up late anyways.
Don't disappear. Don't leave our chat. We need you guys in there. But Chauncey should be 8:15 Central Time, so 6:15 Pacific. So yeah, that's about 45 minutes from now. We'll get Chauncey on, guys. Just hang tight. Listen to Walker. Walker's a rad dude. But first, we're gonna do the X Brand Forum check-in.
Got to build suspense.
What's that?
Got to build suspense.
Yeah. We can't give it to you right away. X-Brand is your choice for clear vision and a leader in motocross and off-road goggles. X-Brand is used by many of the top GNCC riders, including 2023 XC1 champion Craig DeLong, who won Ironman, 23 National Hare and Hound champion Dalton Shurry, National Duro champion Grant Baylor, Lyndon Snodgrass, and many more, as well as motocross, supercross, and arena cross riders like Kyle Chisholm, Freddie Noren, Henry Miller, Michael Hicks, Richard Taylor, Jerry Robin, myself, finishing 6th in the Super Senior 45 B class. Clear vision the whole time. Honestly, never had to pull a tear off. Not once.
Because everybody just passed you that fast.
No, man. I was going so fast.
Yeah,
it was just blowing
He
up.
was scared to take his hand off the bar.
Same reason
I don't pull.
That's the honest truth. All right.
Tear offs are the same
X-Brand
lenses.
Forum check-in. This one is titled Picking a New Bike is Hard, posted by MX Addict. Actually, that's not who it's posted by. Why does this always change on me when I'm sitting here trying to do this? Went to like the 3rd page. Good stuff. Hang tight, guys. X-Brand Forum check-in. We're getting there. Refreshing the page. Go to your local dealership. Ask for X-Brand. Distributed through WPS. All right, it's posted by Lake33. The age-old question, which bike do I buy? I've been a long-time 2-stroke guy. Never owned a 4-stroke. And thought it's time for a change. I've been riding a YZ 250 2-stroke for almost 10 years, and I'm going to buy a new bike and can't decide between the YZ 250F, KTM 250 SXF, and 350 XF. A lot more to this topic that he kind of gets into, but I want to ask you guys like how you would decide what bike you're going to pick, because one of the things I've said for years, and I think most people kind of feel this way, is you can read all the shootouts you want, but you really don't get a chance to go test these bikes. There's no... You want to test drive a new Mustang, you want to test drive a new Chevrolet Camaro, whatever, you just go down to the dealership. I want to take a test
Show
drive.
them your ID, take it on.
Can't do that on a dirt bike, so it kind of sucks. You might go buy a bike, spend $10,000, be like, I hate this bike.
Yeah.
I mean, our buddy Gary Phillips bought a 25 Cowie. He's a huge, or 24 Cowie.
Yeah, he's been on Cowies forever.
Big Cowie guy, hated the bike. Then he couldn't hardly sell it. So, yeah, it kind of sucks. So
Yeah, he's been on Cowie as long as I've known him.
Yeah, what do you guys decide to do? What do you use for your decision? Because it could have to do with a local dealership, could have to do with price, it could have to do with history of what you've rode in the past, what you've read on the, in the shootouts, etc. If you're going to go buy a new bike, what do you use to choose?
Mostly just talking to people around that have rode other ones. And well, the reason I got the bike that I have now is because I rode one of my buddies who had the exact same thing. And after riding that, I was like, all right, I got to get me one of these things. And then I don't have a lot of preference on it. Like whatever seems to be the good bike at the time, I'll get. Like everybody kind of has a common perception about the bikes that come out. So I trust kind of the people around me that are like, oh, well, you can't listen to everything, but you usually have a pretty good idea if you just kind of talk to people at the pits, what's good and what's not. And I mean, there for a while, I think the Austrian bikes were kind of the top of the class. I don't know if that's really, I think the other bikes have caught up a little bit.
Top of the class based off shootouts and what you're reading?
Well,
based
just
off
what everybody else is riding.
Yeah.
I mean, what you see the most of.
Because I don't usually, for me, Chase, I don't usually take that information and go, oh, okay, Chase Sexton's winning on this bike, or so-and-so's winning, or Chris Kiefer said this. I'm like, I don't ride like those
as
guys,
much
right?
as they want it to, like them winning, make it. I mean, it obviously helps you sell bikes, but what they're riding, what you're riding, is nowhere near the same thing. Like, I don't know. I kind of know what I like, and I know enough people that I can go ride.
Well,
Look
at it. So the years coming up, the last couple years coming up to when Tomac won on the Yamaha, it'd been mostly Austrian bikes winning the championships, from Dungey to Cooper.
Does that influence you?
Well, I would say if you went and looked at the numbers, it'd be hard to argue.
I'm just asking you personally. Would that influence your decision on what you would buy?
A little bit. Okay. I think so.
I don't think it'd influence
I don't know why,
me,
but it would.
That's fair. It's fine. MotoXpodshow@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of know what I like, and I know enough people that I can kind of go test ride stuff. So,
see, I never had that either. When I was bought my own bikes, the local Honda shop in Marshall, like I knew the owners back then, so I was like,
That's a
and
lot
I
of
like
it.
Honda, so I would just go buy a Honda. I guess price would probably have a little bit of influence. Maybe now, also like what the bike looks like a little bit. Like some of the bikes look cooler than others.
True.
I mean, Hondas just look badass. I feel like the Yamahas look really badass right now, so that might have some influence. I don't know.
The bikes have gotten so much closer together,
price
and
would be a
all of them are so good right now. Like,
sure,
you can switch up whatever you get and make it fit you. So it's not like as make or break to know. Listen to the shootouts and see what people are saying. You can go off what you like looks wise.
Well, I went to, so I had a KTM back when they weren't that great, and I was like, I'll never buy one of these again. And then like everybody was talking about how good the KTMs were, and then I rode one, and I was like, that's what I want to get.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I might have rode other bikes and liked them more. I don't know, but I was happy with my choice.
I rode one of the original 350s when they first did them, before they even had a 450, like motorbike.
Okay.
And I would have never thought that they were going to be anything like they were, because they were god awful at that point.
yeah. I think I rode one. God,
bikes.
I don't even remember what year now.
Bikes have just gotten so much better, man.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
All right, our next guest is on the line. He's going to be brought to you tonight by FXR, which is designed by racers for racers. With industry-leading fit, finish, and performance, progression is the name of the game with every new piece created. At FXR, we push our brand to the next level to provide you with the best products possible. Used by Muck-Off, FXR Club MX Yamaha team, Mike Brown, Brock Tickle, Chris Kiefer, Benny Bloss, and many more. FXR has core motor roots, so visit fxrracing.com or go to your local dealership and see the complete 2025 lineup, including the Helium and Revo. Great stuff. I wore that this weekend at the race. Tonight, FXR brings us the 7-time XC1 Pro ATV champion, Walker Fowler. What's up, Walker?
Oh, not much, Jamie. How are you guys?
We're doing good, man. Very glad to talk to you. We did not get a chance to actually visit this weekend. I didn't get a chance to meet you. We got to fix that next year.
I know. Man, just when you think that, the weekend is going to go a certain way, things get real busy and the highlights get put on others, and we never got to formally meet, but I'm glad I'm talking to you now.
Well, we knew that you had a points battle on your hand. There was a chance on Saturday that you could have come away with that title. So you were a little focused. I wasn't really interested in interfering with that. But let's, before we get into my riding quads and all that, hell of a season for you, considering how your injury over a year ago went. I think 3 wins this year, 10 podiums, and just a couple races that didn't go to plan.
Yeah, just, I mean, honestly, as today's my birthday, I'm 32 years old.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Just, I'm getting older, and, I'm kind of in the senior years of my career, and it's funny how, I treat things now. Like, my back, that needed to happen. And I hate that for myself, but it was a humbling moment. I was starting to get a little bit, maybe too big for my britches, and I had already lost, and I was really starting to just kind of hate racing and hate life, hate everything. And, that really kind of brought me back.
Oh, wow. So you see that as a positive. You found the positive, the light, or what's the silver lining?
100%. It was a horrible thing, but I had so much downtime, and I had a lot of time to kind of reflect on my career and what I've done, and it was huge. It brought joy back to racing, and I think as a professional, you lose that. And for all the kids listening or anyone listening, and I listened to a couple of shows last night, kind of just to get a feel for everyone, and listening to Chase Sexton talk about his career and Deegan and a bunch of these other guys. Like, racers get it, but like sometimes we need a friendly reminder of what's going on. So that my injury, it sucked, and it took me out for an entire season. I was able to come back for a couple of rounds, and I still found success in those rounds, but most importantly, I found the fun in racing again, and I've just been enjoying that. And there's been a few moments this season, like this past weekend, that maybe weren't so fun, but it brought, like, I know I'm not crazy, and I know when there's something not right, and we don't always catch it in time. When I rode the race machine on Monday prior to the race, I knew something wasn't right, but I just, the two prior races, it's really hard to recreate, race type conditions at the practice track.
Right.
So the other two events, I said, screw it. I'm just going to ride the thing, and I'm going to go out there. I'm going to win. And it worked. Well, I ended up having a mechanical failure at the end of the last race that we didn't catch. And, unfortunately it showed itself this weekend, and that sucks. And at least I know I'm not crazy. At the pit stop, everyone's like, what are you doing? Like, you're not a 10th place guy. Why are you in 10th place? And I was like, I'm going to die on this thing, and I'm going as fast as I'm capable of going. We come home, and, I think it was yesterday afternoon, I get a text from my mechanic, and he says, well, found the problem, and explains everything. And that sucks, but it's racing, and I am still happy, and I'm healthy. I get to fight again next year. We'll see the next year or two. I'm hoping I can make it through 26, but the end of my career is nearing.
Okay.
I'm just happy that I am healthy. It's the end of the year, and I got to watch a lot of really cool things happen at Ironman this weekend, and that really my race was so bad, I don't even care about it. I got to see a lot of really cool stuff happen this weekend, and I loved it.
Well, I'm going to ask you what those things were in a second. I want you to fill the listeners in that don't know about the injury, right? This was at the end of 22, I believe, when this happened?
It was the beginning of 23.
Okay, beginning of 23. So yeah, tell everyone.
Yeah, so there's a local race series in Florida called the Florida Trail Riders. If you're able to anymore, a lot of the pros, whether it be bike or ATV, will go down kind of like Daytona area. Our property is a little bit further south near like Lake Okeechobee, the big fishing lake down there. We usually anymore, I don't run a lot of locals because I get paid to do 13 events a year, and I really need to be at them. Mm-hmm. But this was kind of the beginning and the end for that. So I'm at this local race, and I was testing something. It didn't work. My mechanic told me it wasn't going to work, and I thought I knew I was better than everybody.
Of course.
We're racers. We know better than they all. Yeah. It didn't work. The machine was overheating. I was trying to figure out a way to keep the field grass off the radiator. And with the ATV especially, it's super hard to do that. And what I didn't work. I had to take the plastic off, had to take this thing I had made off of the radiator, and I continued to race. And I was in like the C classes at this point. I'm almost a lap down, but I'm like, I'm here to race. I need to know that, I can still ride 2 hours. And, the infamous, this thing has never ran this good before. I'm like, man, this thing is absolutely ripping.
Yeah.
Fourth gear as hard as this thing will go across some sand whoops, and you're kind of up on top of like a dam or like a dike that they, like, for irrigation purposes, they'll build up like a 10-foot barrier between fields. And you could basically jump off of this thing. It was maybe 40 feet across, and you could get a combine or a big tractor through there with an implement, and it would jump back up to that same height. Well, if you did it right, you could jump off of it, hit a sand whoop, G out, and jump back up on top. I did the first lap. It was freaking awesome. second lap, as soon as I go to take off, it locks up. So I go 50 plus miles an hour straight to my head. My Atlas neck brace and my fly racing equipment saved my life that day. But I made a crater where my body landed. I never moved. I went 55 miles an hour, stop. And so I ended up breaking my thoracic vertebrae T7 and T8. And when my T7 stayed together, but when T8 displaced, instead of paralyzing me, it went the other direction. And I'm just so fortunate for that. Like, I appreciate walking every day. And that sounds ridiculous, but
no, it doesn't.
I got so lucky. I should have broke my cervical spine, but I didn't. My neck brace saved me. Thank God. I wear a Camelback on my back. Some guys will wear like, the one that goes around your waist, like a little fanny pack style.
Right.
But that, just having that extra half a gallon of water on my back essentially acted as an airbag. It saved my life. So, very fortunate. And, it was a really eye-opening moment for me. And I like racing again. I hate that it's at the end of my career, but I'm enjoying all of it. And I love everything I do every day. And riding an ATV professionally. And I know, at least on the dirt bike side, that's not super cool. I get that, but it's given me a professional career in something, and it pays the bills, and it's been really, really awesome.
Of course it has. I want to ask you this. You said you found the enjoyment in racing again, but I have to imagine there was also a part of you, or I would assume, that was kind of like, do I really want to do this again? Do I want to take that chance? Was there a little bit of both, or was it, no, I'm all in, I can't wait to get back?
No, my fear. So I was laying in the hospital bed. I think it was day 5, and Johnny Gallagher, which now either you knew or now you know
for sure
very well of him, he had came to give my family a break, and he sat with me for the day. And he, I look at him like, I'm afraid to ride again. Like, I'm afraid. I literally told him, I was like, I'm afraid I'm not going to like it. And he was like, that is the least of our concerns right now.
Yeah, exactly. You
need to really focus on, like, just becoming normal again, and then we'll worry about the riding part. So as the months go on, like, that thought was always there. And the closer I got to putting a helmet back on, I was afraid. Like, I was afraid that I wouldn't like riding.
But not afraid to ride. It was just that you wouldn't like it.
Correct. Like, I just was afraid that I would get out there and be like, I'm so uncomfortable that I can't do this anymore, because racing has been my entire life.
Yeah.
I grew up, my dad raced, both of my parents drag raced cars. My dad raced some 3-wheelers, and then he, got into the 4-wheel side of things kind of as I was like 3 or 4 years old. I rode dirt bikes for my entire life as well. So I was so scared that the thing that I've done literally forever was not going to be my hobby or be my passion anymore. And I ended up doing a photo shoot at High Point. So it would have been last summer.
Yeah.
And as soon as I'm idling through the pits, and the smile on my face, like people were like, "Are you going to race tomorrow?" And I was like, this is the first time I've touched a machine in 7 months. But like, I am so happy right now that I would consider it. And my mechanic shut that down.
Yeah, I think we all know that feeling though. So good for your mechanic, but it's also, we know that feeling of it's in your blood, man. And I've never had an injury as severe as what you're talking about, but we've all probably laid in the hospital bed, first 24 hours, never doing this again. Next morning, when can I do this again? It's just when you love it that much. So I'm glad you got it back. And I'm glad that you talk about being an older guy, but to come off that injury, be the older guy and still be as competitive as you were this season, that's badass, man. It's impressive. And so good for you. And you talk about your career coming to an end. I don't see why, dude. You're second in points and had a couple bad races. Like, you're still there, man. You're still competitive. Don't shut it down.
Yeah, I get that. Financially, I would say is probably the big issue.
Okay, I got you.
Still kind of paying off some medical bills, and the state of the economy right now is just not great. And four-wheelers are the low man on the totem pole, so
yeah,
sponsors are pulling back. And do I want to risk my life to barely make ends meet is kind of where I'm at, but like I could get surprised. I am working on a couple of things, and it might go a little bit longer than I thought.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll keep
it was looking real short there for a while, but things are looking okay, maybe. So I'll be 60 years old and still think I can go out and win a race.
Of course, of course.
That's never going to end. So
look at Mike Brown.
You do have, you got to kind of find a time where you understand that the brain and the competitive spirit versus what the body can handle is, they don't always align. So
100%.
I don't want to go too far. I want to be able to walk.
fair enough. That's a good way to look at it. Scotty?
Just a little more with the bikes and stuff. So with the, I don't know a whole lot about four-wheelers, but it seems like one of the biggest concerns in the woods would be tightness and like how wide the bike is. What are some of the things that you try to focus on getting the bike ready for the woods that the common fan wouldn't think of?
All right, so great question. The factory machine is 49 inches wide. The maximum width for an MX ATV is 50. We reduced that to 47. For the longest time, we were about 45 and a half, 46. But as time has gone on, as the tracks have changed, as more racers have, entered our series, they've had to kind of open things up a little bit. So we've gone a lot stiffer, a little bit wider, more of a motocross setup, and taking that into the woods. We had some motocross professionals actually show up this weekend. They were on 50-inch bikes, or at least one of them was. And this past race actually would work really good for the MX ATV setup, but you still have to be able to dodge trees. So there's a few spots, and Jamie, I'm sure you found out, like, you realize how wide 47, 48 inches is when the tires are out there. The typical handlebar setup is under 30 or right at 30.
Yeah.
And if you turn your bars, you can get 20.
Right. Yeah.
I've seen some of these enduro guys go through places that if their foot pegs fit, they go, and it's incredible to watch. And like I said, I have been I was a top A rider in GNCC. I rode for Randy Hawkins and for Yamaha in 2008. My first Yamaha deal was actually on a motorcycle. It just didn't work out. Like I have short legs. I rode ATVs my entire life, and I had an opportunity in 2009, 2010 to possibly become Yamaha's top guy on the ATV. So I ended up transitioning that direction. But, like I said, we narrow up the ATVs and big gas tanks. These things are 500 pounds. We try to get them as light as you can, but we've found that they have to be able to withstand. They have we have half the suspension. We have probably 12 times the ground contact. Our tires are 6 inches wide. A motorcycle tire is 1.5 inches, 2 inches wide on the front, maybe 2.5 inches, 3 inches wide on the rear.
Right.
Our rear tires are 11 inches wide.
Yeah.
Clearance.
They're just inherently heavy. Our clearance at the swing arm in the back is about 4.5 inches. So you're just constantly pounding everything. So these things are built heavy. They're just little army tanks running through the woods at Mock Jesus.
Yeah.
And and you're just taking the abuse the whole time. But and it forces us as athletes, like I'm sure you saw the build of all these guys. Like we're pretty impressively built.
Stout.
Like, yeah, we're stout, heavy. I mean, we're like, everyone thinks that a four-wheeler rider should be like a jockey, and we're all, except a few people, pretty small guys, and most racers are. But like, you take our shirts off, and like, if we need to pick up a 500-pound machine, we're going to do it, which is probably why I had hernia surgery this year.
Yeah. I
Had
was.
that in
Go ahead.
July.
Go ahead. I was.
No, I was just saying
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting. Go ahead.
you're good. I just said I had hernia surgery early July this year from God knows what, probably lifting spoilers.
Yeah, I was very surprised at how, I mean, I didn't expect him to handle great, but it was way more brutal and abusive than I thought. I mean, myself and RV, like we could barely stand up Sunday morning and my back still hurts today. They're definitely not designed for guys that are over 6 foot tall. I always had respect. Yes, I made fun. All the quad riders that are listening right now, I definitely made fun. I made the jokes. Scotty was making a joke earlier. It was really disrespectful, Scotty.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But
I don't mind Scotty. It's okay.
yeah, but I mean, I gained even more respect this weekend. One, doing it myself and seeing how they handle. And then two, having the other guys just blow by you and watch them shred sideways and leaning off the inside of the turn and just sliding between two trees. And I'm like, I don't even know if I could fit. And they're just wide open sideways. And it was eye-opening. And I was really glad that Yamaha and Johnny Gallagher gave us the opportunity to get that experience. So I can actually, now I know a little bit of what it's like.
And I'm more impressed that you guys took the opportunity. Like, I mean that like sort of as a fan, sort of as like a, wow, I can't believe they would do that, because you guys are better than that. No offense. You know, that is what we always hear, you know, oh, quads this, quads that.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're the redheaded stepchildren. I get that. I'm completely fine with that persona. But it's cool if you do it. Like, at least you understand. Like I have ridden motorcycles my entire life. I understand it. Will I ever be RV? I never had a shot. That's why I chose the path I did. But I get it, and I know how to do it, and I know when I ride it how much more sore I am and muscles I don't use on the ATV that I use on the dirt bike. Mm-hmm. And it just blows my mind. Like, I ride a motorcycle for 5 minutes and my arm pump is insane. I'm not breathing. I'm so out of my element. And same thing, I come off the track and my smile is so big and I'm like, did you see that butt whip I just did?
Hell yeah.
Did you see that, dude?
Yeah.
I had it. The tire went maybe an inch out of line of where I was at. Did you see that?
Sideways.
Hey,
sideways.
I got a picture that I posted on Instagram where I'm like 4 inches off the ground on the quad, and I was like, yeah, look at that.
See that airtime? I was sending that 500-pound machine, baby.
Yeah, like I was impressed with myself. I mean, shit. Now, you probably didn't hear this unless you were listening earlier in the show, or I don't even know if we talked about it on the show, but I didn't like go over the quad beforehand and go, okay, this is where this is. You know, I just like, all right, I'm just going to get on and go. As soon as we went into the woods, it got, I don't know, a couple 100 feet in, there was a little bottleneck where you can only fit a quad through. That was it. And I stalled it. And I did not know where the start button was. I was looking on the right. I bet my heart rate was 220 because everybody's piled up behind me. I can't figure out how to start it. I'm like, I'm going to have to get off and push.
Yeah. The other guys are actually racing. You guys are kind of just there for fun.
Yeah.
In the way.
Yeah.
I felt awful. And then I finally found it. But it was full panic. But yeah,
I don't goon?
Know. Yeah, for sure. I mean, an absolute goon. But a hell of an experience. I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad you guys allowed it. It's pretty badass, and honestly, those things are fast as fuck out in the straightaway.
They're fun
because if you look at the video that like Racer X posted of me going backwards up Godzilla Hill. I don't know if you can go, I don't know if you can go much slower than I was riding.
I saw it,
and I'm looking back,
but no, it was awesome. I loved it. Like, I've watched you go up this hill. I'm like, I bet he is so out of his element right now.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like terrified and pumped at the same time.
100%. That was how that whole day went. Terrified and pumped. That's actually how Sunday went also. Terrified and pumped.
Yeah, true. So I didn't hear, how did Sunday go? I mean, obviously the results were a lot better for a lot of guys. And were you getting lapped by Phil, or was that?
No. Well, he didn't get to me, but he was about to. That was the finish. So he did not lap me, but he was close.
Because I know you said like, oh, I finished ahead of Phil. I'm like, damn, dude, if you beat Phil Nicoletti, like, you should not have a podcast.
So here's my
be a
math.
Professional racer.
Here's my math. I've already said this 3 or 4 times tonight, so the listeners are probably annoyed. I finished the race in 2 hours 4 minutes and 9 seconds. Okay, 2 hours and 4 minutes.
Yep.
Phil finished in 2 hours and 10 minutes. I got done quicker. I win.
The checkered flag was out. It's not your fault.
Did you tell Phil that?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, yes. After the race, I was like, "Yeah, I finished in front of you, man." I don't know. He's just like, "Fuck you, Dark."
That's so funny.
Yeah, go ahead, Chase.
So you race dirt bikes as well as 4-wheelers. I was curious as what's some of the differences in training and like day to day on the quad stuff in the woods.
I mean, I obviously have kind of trained the same my whole career. I would say that, like, you know, cardio is huge with anything that you do as an athlete. So cardio is big. The riding, I definitely feel like I ride more. The ATV has a pretty specific thing. When I was on the motorcycle, I was supposed to do national enduros, which are very tight, very corner to corner, quick.
Mm-hmm.
I was not good at that. I absolutely mangled like 3 motorcycles, and then my contract for enduros was terminated. They were like, "You can't do that," and I was like, "No, I need open. I need fast." So that part was really hard, and like building a track at your house. To do enduro stuff, like, it was really hard to find that tight of woods, to piece it together. And the ATV, that basically, Jamie, I don't know if you noticed, but there was like tiny bulldozers running around at the property. If you saw them.
Uh-huh.
I have one. I bought one from them.
Okay.
GNCC. So like I can prep my track as literally the exact same as GNCC does. So now my track is as close as I can make it. It's still not as fast. I only have 50 acres. I don't have, 1,000 like some of these properties do that we race, but I have a small motocross track. I was never that great. I can ride moto on anything. I could take a scooter out there and hit a double if I had to, but I don't recommend that.
Right.
But, the motorcycle, I just always caught like, I found my cap on the motorcycle, and I knew I couldn't go past that. Or like, at least at that point when I was 19, I wasn't willing to go past as fast as I was going. I did have 2 top 20 overall finishes. So I have scored national points on a motorcycle, which is awesome.
That's sick.
And that's when there was really big, David Knight and Paul Wibley and Juha Salminen and these guys are all over here when Josh Strang was young and winning, and Barry Hawk had just retired, and like Charlie Mullins was on the rise. Caleb Russell was a badass.
Mm-hmm.
I scored points against these guys. So like I've done it, but I knew my cap was there, and I was no longer comfortable going any faster. Like I said, I was in the 4-stroke A lights, which would be like row 3, row 5. They would rotate them.
Right.
I never made it to XC2, which now, obviously they have XC3, which is a 125 pro class, and XC2 is the 250 pro class. At that time, XC2 was just a stepping stone. It was still a pro-am class.
Okay. But
as things have changed in GNCC over the years, now it is a pro class. At the time I was racing, it was just a stepping stone. But yeah, like I said, I kind of capped out, and training wise, it was so hard on the bike. Like there were so many disciplines and so many, like I had a trials bike. I could not ride that thing to save my life. That was so hard. I got hurt more on that in a pit bike than I did anything. So I was like, this whole 2-wheel thing's not working.
Sure.
So then I jumped on the quad, I had done it my entire life, but I finally was at a point where I would literally only train on the motorcycle, but I would race the 4-wheeler on the weekends.
Yeah.
and the motorcycle.
Right.
But then in 2009, 2010, when I switched, I finally was focusing on only the ATV, and like things really started meshing and gelling, and I was happy, and it was meant to be. Like when you step in a brand new car and you're like, I don't like this one, and then you go in this one, in this model over here, and you're like, oh yeah, that fits.
That's the
like
one.
that's what it was. I got on and I'm like, this is what I should have been doing this entire time. So, yeah, I just do what I do, I guess. I don't know.
7 titles from 2015 to 2021. Incredible career in ATVs, and you kind of touched on being the bottom of the totem pole or whatever, the stepchild to the sport, and that does suck because the amount of talent you guys have is very impressive. Again, my eyes were opened even more this weekend.
Is Walker the all-time quad national champion?
It's a good question.
I'm
all-time wins, right?
I have the all-time wins in GNCC. That's motorcycles or ATVs combined. Pretty proud of that one.
77 or 78 wins?
77.
77, yeah.
McGrath numbers.
That was this year, right? So
thank you. Yeah, that was about a month ago.
I read a interview you did with GNCC. I think it's called Toolbox on their website or something like that. Sunday Toolbox, and you had just tied the record, and I looked, and you had won 2 more after that. So, yeah, good job, man. Walker Fowler tonight, brought to you by FXR. Speaking of FXR and riding gear, are we still wearing our jersey with our name on the back to events other than actually racing? Are you wearing it out in public, bro?
Not currently, but I'm coming to Tampa Supercross this year again. I'm making a comeback, and that same jersey will be on my back.
Okay. I love it, man. Stick with it. To hell with it. They're selling replica jerseys now at Supercross. And honestly, look, it's not my thing. I'm not going to wear my jersey. But I used to wear, football jerseys all the time when I was going out to support my team. So if it brings more fandom and recognition and whatever to the sport, and if you want to wear your jersey, wear it, man.
If I was a 7-time champion, I'd do it too.
Dude, yeah. I'll tell you what, if I had a Walker Fowler jersey, I'd wear it to Tampa Supercross.
No, you wouldn't.
So did you ever hear the whole backstory with this entire thing?
I think you did tell it, but I don't remember the story. So go ahead and tell us.
I'll give you the quick version.
Yeah.
So it was the St. Jude's Children's Night.
That's right. Yep.
My girlfriend's nephew. Doesn't have any problems or anything, but he was young at the time, and he was like, I was like, "Wear your jersey." He's like, "Well, I don't have a jersey." I was like, "Wear your own. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't need to go spend a bunch of money on a replica jersey. Wear your own jersey, man. Be proud of that."
Yeah.
And he was like, he's 6, and he's like, "I'm not doing that." And I was like, well, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so we show up. I have it on, and he would not put his on. He's like, I'm not doing it.
He still wouldn't do it.
This is right. Yeah. He's like, I'm uncomfortable. I was like, you should be proud, man. Like, you race. This is a really cool thing. It's a children's night. Like, it's really special. Like, be proud of who you are. And he wouldn't do it. So I'm like, screw it. I'm doing it. My girlfriend was like, you're going to hate this. Like, you're going to get so much flack for this. And I was like, let's see what happens.
Hey, that's ballsy.
The first person I see is Weege.
Oh, God.
I walk in there, and he goes, interesting. The only reason he goes, hey, Walker. And I turn around. He's like, oh, my God, it's actually you. I thought it was going to be a fake person or, someone that had your jersey on. I was like, no. He's like, you're wearing your own jersey. I'm like, yeah. And I kind of gave him a brief rundown of the last 15 minutes before walking into the stadium. And he's like, okay, cool. Like, he seemed cool about it. And then
he immediately
Paul
went to the group text.
Yeah, immediately to the group text, Mathis, everyone gets involved. And so they have me on the show, and they're like, dude, you're such a loser. And I'm like, that's so shitty.
Yeah, like, for sure.
Damn. Like, you don't even know the backstory. I mean, they kind of did, and they still crapped on the whole idea. I'm like, wow. Like, talk about like a anti-bullying whole segment here. Like, but you got to know these guys. I get it. It's funny, whatever. So the crazy freaking part of this entire thing, that same night, Kawhi Leonard, and I don't even know what team he plays for, but pro NBA athlete.
Toronto, I believe.
Was in Miami wearing his own jersey and tweeted about me wearing mine and being bullied and stuff, and it blew up. It was a trending top. It was a 48-hour trending topic on Twitter.
Nice.
That's awesome. I didn't even see that, but that's cool. Don't get on Twitter enough for that.
I gained like 50,000 followers overnight. It was great.
I love it. So Mathis,
it was awesome.
At noon today, Mathis sent a text with me and Lewis Phillips with the thumbnail for my show, and it just says, "What the fuck, man?" He says, "This is all we in quotes can do." And I said, I said, "What the fuck, man? 3-time WXC champ, 7-time XC1 Pro ATV and champ, quad life, baby." And Steve said, "Let's see, I'm scrolling through." He just basically was just like, "It sucks, but for fuck's sake, you have a quad guy and a chick racer on." So Mathis is still being a dick, but that's just Mathis for you. But
I know it's just Mathis. Yeah. And I would shake his hand right now, and he's a great dude. But I get it. Like, the pinnacle of the sport, supercross athletes, and Brian Villopoto, of all the people, he's this glorious god that came down from Earth and ascended upon supercross.
Sure.
And he rode a 4-wheeler this weekend. And it was awesome.
And the beast from the East. Yep, yeah.
The beast from the... All right, I got to say, out of all y'all, Bradshaw looked good.
Yes, he did. I agree.
He looked comfortable. The guy can drive anything. He can ride anything. The guy is incredible. He's 50 what?
I don't even know.
You mean Dark wasn't the anchor of that team?
He is.
Oh, I was the literal 50. Anchor, slowing it down.
Yeah. But no offense, Jamie. But
no, it's fine. I'm realistic. I understand.
He knows.
Damon looks so good. Like, his body positioning, like he's definitely ridden one at some point.
Yeah.
And I think he said that he's ridden some utilities or whatever around,
sure.
But like his comfort, like, I'm like, dude, I could have him on like a body positioning riding school technique thing, and he could be the poster child for it. He just rides. And I'm not taking anything away from RV, but Bradshaw is a freaking man, and I'm even a bigger fan. I watched him, so I was born in 92, and obviously he was like very high up professionally by that point, or in the peak of his career.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have all these videos from like 90, well, they were probably from then, but 96, 97, when I was really getting interested in riding. Like, I remember watching Damon and just being like, wow, this guy's incredible. And to have the Blue Crew and Yamaha and everyone give me that opportunity to see him line up and talk to him and him ride a 4-wheeler is like, just, it was like one of the coolest days of my life. Like,
yeah,
I didn't get to tell him
here.
that. I'm standing next to him and I'm like, wow, you're way taller than you look on TV.
All right, Walker, let's close this out. We have a Vital MX forum question from Brandon Shaw. It says, do you see any reduction of factory manufacturer support coming anytime soon from Yamaha? With them being the last OEM in the race quad business, I'm curious if they'll continue to support the sport indefinitely or if they'll end up letting it die.
They are going to support it indefinitely.
Love it.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they? I mean,
yeah.
It's almost a given that they're going to get the championship.
Right? Yeah, I mean, they have to. I don't know that, I guess. I shouldn't say that. But
wishful thinking.
The tooling's paid for. The machines, like, would they love a change? Yes. And I've heard through the grapevine that maybe a change is likely because certain tooling is becoming out of date, but they will not let it die in the next 10 years.
All right, there's your answer, guys. Walker, dude, it's been a pleasure having you on. Again, I look forward next time we'll actually say hi and get to visit a little bit. But thanks for the opportunity from Johnny for letting us ride his quad, and it was a pleasure.
Would you do it again?
I said no. I've been saying no, but I think
and now it's been enough time that you're saying yes.
Yeah, I'm saying I'll consider it because I want to do better. Like, I said earlier, I have a goal now to come back to Ironman and actually do 4 laps because I've always only done 3 laps at a GNCC. So yeah, maybe I'll have a goal to do better, not stall the thing 2 or 3 times and improve. So
we'll bring TJ and do a MotoXpod team.
No, I'm not doing it with TJ. TJ's out. But yes, I would do it again, TJ. Walker. If the opportunity's there, I'm in.
All right, and I'm the team manager, so you guys just let me know what's going on.
All right, we'll do. We'll get Mathis and Kiefer back and or out there.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Get Mathis out there.
He did say at dinner, we were texting him, RV and Bradshaw were talking shit, calling him and Kiefer pussies, and I texted both of them, and Steve said he would do a GNCC. He's done 2 before. He would do one. We'll see if we can get him there next year.
Good. I like it. Thank you, boys. I appreciate it.
All right, Walker. Have a good night, buddy.
You too.
All right,
Take care.
Walker Fowler tonight, brought to you by FXR. We got to stop making fun of Quad Raw. I'm done making fun of him.
This is cool, dude. He made me a fan during that interview.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. I mean, look, there are some videos like in our group text. That video, who posted the video the other day of the guy on the Suzuki Quad, and I was like, yeah, that was pretty rough. Not because it was just a goofy. It looks. It doesn't look as cool as a dirt bike.
It doesn't. I've ridden them before.
After riding one, like, they're pretty badass. I mean, they're not as much fun as a dirt bike to me.
So you didn't even like ride around in a circle or nothing. You just got on and hopped in the trails.
Yeah, that's what we all did.
That's pretty.
None of us got to ride.
But you're like, well, you stalled it immediately.
Not immediately. Maybe 15 minutes in.
Oh,
in a tight. It was like a real tight section.
Yeah. Okay.
With like, and I hit like that kind of just the edge of a bump, and it stuttered for a second. I didn't have my finger on the clutch. I stalled it. Yeah. I don't know, man. I would do it again, I guess, because I do want to do better. Even like during the 2-wheel race, I was kind of like, I don't know if I ever want to do this again. I'm kind of done, but I do want to do it again. It's brutal while you're doing it.
Those are the best memories. It sucks while you're doing it, and then when you look back on it, you're like, man, I can't wait to do it again. Yeah, nobody ever remembers an actual like roller coaster ride. You know what I mean? Right. It's fun that whole time.
TJ said it was him on the quad.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, that was him in that picture?
I guess.
No wonder.
Oh, yeah.
Let's move on. We got our next guest on the line. Next guest is going to be brought to you by ETS Racing Fuels. ETS Racing Fuels was forged from the heat of competition nearly 30 years ago, developing purpose-engineered fuel for high-profile teams and highly competitive series. We have been the power behind podium wins ever since. Teams using ETS Racing Fuels have won more than 50 national and world titles, and we continue to forge new alliances and partnerships across motorsports. ETSRacingFuels.com to find your local distributor. They support teams like Factory KTM, Rockstar Husqvarna, and many more. Tonight, ETS Racing Fuels brings us from Motocross the Game, Chauncy Sharp. What's up, Chauncy?
Hey guys, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for jumping on here. I don't know if you've been listening to this. A few of us, like I'm not a big gamer. I still own a PS2 and MX Unleashed. So I have a lot.
I forgive you.
No, I have a lot to learn. But my issue is I just don't have the skill set, the coordination to use like the joysticks, the little push button left right toggle. I can do that. That's about it.
In other words, you don't have the patience to learn something new.
He's old.
Yeah, I'm just old, bro. I'm old. But dude, everybody is excited about this game. Coming home from the GNCC race Saturday, all of us in the van, all the journalists are like, what the hell is this countdown? And I was reaching out to every single person that put the countdown out. What is this? They're like, oh, it's embargoed. I finally got an answer. Checkers reached out. We talked. This is a big deal, man. It sounds like to me. Before we get into the game, I want to get a little bit of your background and the background on the team that you have developing this game, because Checkers is telling me like you guys are the Hall of Fame group. So kind of give me your history.
So I'm an interesting one. I was actually a project manager in construction for most of my career. Okay. And I got hurt and I started to make content for a living. And that's what catapulted me into the gaming scene. Was I just started making YouTube videos and TikToks and trying to find some way to piece together a living, really, after I had a little bit of a brain injury. And through that, I was able to meet Nico and the team, a lot of the team at the LAN event in EICMA, and really was able to connect with them. And I've worked for a few years now to build my own personal brand, really from nothing, and kind of got thrown out into the motocross gaming world and started to make some connections with some of the pros. And I guess they saw that and were really interested in that.
And you're known as Reaper Doc. And again, I'm I have a lack of knowledge on this. So this is like your username. This is what people know you by, correct?
Yeah, I'll give you a little, it's an interesting name, and
for you.
It's a little, I guess just a unique of a name. It's got some sentimental value. I lost a brother-in-law in Afghanistan, and he was stationed on a base called Reaper, and he was a medic. And so after he passed away, that's where I got the name. And that's what I'm known as now.
But people know you from the other, the
MX Bikes.
MX Bikes.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say
that's where
MX Bikes.
Yeah, that's where I'm from.
So when your name comes up, like Checkers gets very excited. A lot of these, the guys that are super into this gaming, they're like, okay, this is legit. We know what's up. You guys have a passion for this.
Yeah.
All right. So there are a lot of questions obviously coming through. We've got quite a few on our forum. Let's start with a couple questions that you guys received through your content. Just right off the bat, tell us about what is motocross the game? What's going to be special about it? What's going to set it apart from others?
Motocross the game is really, I feel like the main focus is just all of us coming together to finally make the game we've always wanted. All of the other games it's always been awesome, but there's been something missing. And this is just all of our creative minds coming together to focus on the game that the racers wanted and the gamers wanted. And we just really want to create the most competitive racing experience possible. And I really think, like I mentioned earlier, that last year, right around this time, almost exactly a year ago, we had a LAN event, which is basically an in-person event at a huge convention in Italy called EICMA, where we played MX bikes on a huge stage, right? In front of, there was hundreds of people, thousands of people watching. And personally, for me, that's what really started the itch of, okay, we really need to do some competitive racing here. And I believe that's where everyone really started to get that itch to just do our own thing.
So, again, help me out. Is this something like, I know you guys have tournaments, or these types of games have tournaments. Right. So there's ways where you can have 15, 20 people and do qualifiers and break it down. Yeah. So the 20 best riders in the world or whatever will go and compete. And this game will have that capability, right? Through PC, console, all that.
Yeah. And console is the big one here. Currently we have MX Bikes and MX Simulator that are PC only games, and they have been doing this style of esport. MX Bikes was the first one to do the LAN, but where you'll have hundreds of people sign up and try to qualify. You'll take the top 40 and then put them into 2 heat races in Supercross, and just like real life, right? Well, we'll break it down. You'll take the top 8 from the mains, and then you'll have an LCQ and everything. It's very fun, and it's very immersive, but it's never been done on console. And so that is one of our biggest passions. And really I think one of the biggest selling points is finally we can bring that over to console for the first time.
What's the reason it's never been done on console? Is it mostly funding or something else?
I think the simulator side of things, I think it has a lot to do with technology as well. Simulator side is pretty difficult, and consoles have always kind of lagged behind in the PC world. And consoles are definitely catching up to the PCs now. They're very, very capable, and it's just kind of seems like the perfect time for this.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never really played a game on PC. If I was going to play, well, I am going to play. I'm going to have to buy a console. It would be console based, I think. So I'm pretty stoked on that. Like I said, were you about to say something, Scotty?
I was trying to help kind of with because Darkside doesn't seem to know what he's talking about. So,
well, I clearly don't. I think I said that, Scotty.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Wow,
Chauncy, I didn't realize that I see your stuff on my feed all the time, and just didn't realize until I just searched it up that I see your stuff all the time. So,
thank you.
Darkside, he's like the GOAT of racing MX bikes. He'll let like a race go like 30 seconds ahead of him, and then he'll like catch all of them. He's like talking the whole time.
Okay.
So he to have him on this game, Chauncy, I've heard one of the things that you complain about the most with MX bikes is that there's only like a couple of servers that can handle. I know this is kind of what you're talking about. There's only a couple of servers or tracks that the servers can handle you guys racing on, and it gets like all the lobbies are either all the same track or nobody else is racing it. So I'm guessing that's what one of the main focuses to fix is with this being in the Xbox and PlayStation world is to fix those, right?
Yeah, I mean, going to console, it really expands the audience. 10, 20-fold, really. Console is by far the biggest platform, well over PC. And so just the sheer amount of players will help, combat some of that same 3-track rotations. But also, we, like we have an extremely talented team. JB, Hell Machine, Stone, and John. All of these guys are really masterminds in what they do, and all of them creating and perfecting tracks, I think will create plenty of opportunity to ride many different tracks.
Yeah, I was super stoked to see like you and JV and Stone Rider all part of the team, because MX Bikes would be almost unplayable if it wasn't for the mod community. So I'm real stoked to see people that have made that game playable even working on this too, because I've always wanted a sim style game to come to console, because the arcade, man, like they're not fun. If you're in the sport at all, they're not fun to play. So I'm like really stoked to see y'all coming out and doing this.
Yeah, and those guys are like world class in what they do, and I feel so privileged to be able to work alongside them, and just to have that level of talent on our team. It almost made me feel like, man, what am I doing here? Like these guys are just simply incredible, and it's a huge blessing.
Before we get into our Vital MX forum questions from all the fans, where can people reach out and support the program and help? I know you have a Kickstarter. Just kind of give us all the information so people can help.
Yeah, Kickstarter is a big one right now, and I did want to take this time to clarify some things.
Okay.
Kickstarter, you can go on Kickstarter and look up Motocross the game, and it'll be there, and I'm sure we can send you a link or something like that. But there's been some questions around the Kickstarter, and I've seen throughout my comments and everything that there's a concern that the game is basically at day one, and we are using the funds from the Kickstarter we're just starting right now. And I want to put that to bed, that our game is fully funded, and we're using the Kickstarter to help expand our team. And what it really does is it helps us deliver things in a more timely manner, whether that's updates, it's the base game, anything like that, past the base game. The more budget we have, the bigger the team we have, and it helps us create more content much faster. But the game is funded. The game is coming. I know in this industry, there's been a lot of talk of other games, and then they've gone away. And I think the public is a bit skeptical at times, and I really just wanted to take the time to put that to rest, that we're here and we're here to stay, and we're not going anywhere.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's smart, Chauncy. The community of gamers and stuff is already kind of pretty tight like that, and then obviously the motocross people don't give anybody any kind of credit, or it's a tough community, and like a lot of keyboard warriors and stuff.
Right.
And I know you see all the stuff like GTA 6. It's like, oh, we're getting this before we get GTA 6. So like, I understand. I see what you guys are doing to try to like, we can do it with the funding we have, but we don't want it to be a GTA 6 essentially. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
all
exactly.
Greek to me.
Yeah. He knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know he does. I'm sure.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
As long as these people, as long as they got it, good.
Yeah, I was curious. Are y'all gonna do like a more realistic style like career mode? Because that seems to always lack in like the previous arcade style games where you're not starting as a privateer, kind of all that. I was curious to what the plan was for like career mode and stuff like that.
So our focus right now is the competitive side and the esports and online side. It is definitely something that we've thought about and tossed the idea around, but certainly at launch, I would expect a more competitive scene rather than a story-driven scene.
Cool.
All right, we're going to start with some of these forum questions. Scotty, if something pops up on YouTube, just, let me know. So, all right. First up, let's see here. This is from Doglover136. Will the trailer be on any commercials anywhere? How do you guys plan to market the game besides having IRL riders and industry people promote it?
Well, over the next month, we have a pretty cool plan that I put in place where even next week I'm flying out to California. We're going to get some behind the scenes stuff with our physics team. It's flying out to Race Tech to do a seminar with them. And so a lot of behind the scenes footage and devlogs is something that I've always been really passionate about. Is I really like to give the consumer the feeling that we're all in it together. Mm-hmm. So some just very casual communication to official updates. And as far as how we're marketing, I really like to use brands. That's my personal preference, brands and influencers. And I guess maybe that's because I am an influencer. I don't really like that word, but here we are. And, I think that right now that's the best way to market. And that would be my preference. Okay.
Elwood 96, he asked about the physics, realistic physics, which you've already talked about, but then he says, this question relates to me. Will there be assist settings to help the more casual gamers, or an easy mode? That's what I added, the easy mode.
Yes, that is something that we have all over here at Motocross the Game have been very aware of, that games like MX Bikes, one of the biggest, turnoffs of that game is, man, you get on, and if you don't have a, weekend to just do nothing but order pizza and then play that game, you're probably not going to get very good at it if you don't do that 10 times, in a row, every day.
Yeah.
So we definitely want there to be the ability to be able to get on and have a good time with your friends, but the focus is going to be as realistic to a simulator as humanly possible for the game.
Okay.
But yeah, trying to feed both sides there, but the focus will definitely be on the sim side.
Will there be lobbies for a novice, intermediate, expert, where these certain settings are allowed? And I would imagine that'd be the way to govern it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have some stuff similar now in MX Bikes where you can create a lobby based off of, you can have a tick box there, and so that should be absolutely fine.
And just going back to the question where I brought up funding and helping out the Kickstarter guys, if you go to their Instagram at Motocross the Game, there's a link. You can find information there. And there's also a website, right? motocrossthegame.com.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that next question from Elwood 96 is, will there be OEM manufacturer bikes in this game as DLC?
Downloadable content.
Okay. Thank you. I was going to ask what that meant.
Working licensing is always a tricky thing. It's definitely something we would like to do.
Okay. He also says, really excited to see the outcome of the motocross simulation game that most people have been dreaming of for quite a while. Can't thank you and the team enough for making this a reality. So I want to pass that along. Red Rider 197, asking for the mod community, specifically the track creators. Is there plans to download? Is there plans to down? Well, this is really bad grammar in this sentence. Is there plans down the road to make track building in Unreal Engine 5 for PC players, or is the track editor goal going to be an editor in games like MESX? I should have let you guys do this.
Yeah, there was no grammar error in that.
No, I just couldn't read it.
I know what he's saying, so I can answer that. We would love to have a track editor. That's a huge feat, and it is definitely something on our radar, and will have to come with time.
Okay.
Can you intro the game and then add that as featured later as an update, I guess? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
You're about to have to fill me in on another thing here, Scotty, in a second. Spink, will there be a full customizable third and first person camera FOV?
Field of view.
Field of view.
First person.
I know first person. I didn't know FOV.
Goggles.
I'm with you. All right.
Third person, you're looking at the whole bike.
Let him answer.
Yeah.
You guys can make fun of me later.
Well, you asked us to do that. We're just helping you train.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Quick answer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He also wants to know, will we be able to mod rider and bike skins, etc., on PC?
So mods, I'll approach this from two different points. Modding from the sense of what we currently have, where you can go into Photoshop and create your own thing and put it, create your own graphics kit and put it onto the bike. This is up in the air. I would say we're leaning towards if we do it, it'll be very regulated, to make sure that we don't have any issues with, not safe for work images or anything like that.
Sure. Okay.
I think I don't know. That's funny that you guys do all that because I would be happy with just a bunch of options to choose from, like predestined options. I would be totally okay with that.
People like that customization.
Yeah,
would you run into any issues like playing online with custom kits like that? Because I know if you're doing it like on MX bikes now, if you don't have the skin in your documents folder or whatever, you can't see the other people's. So I figured that would probably be a pain in the ass to deal with on the console. And
so we're looking into a system similar to iRacing. I don't want to commit to anything, but that's something that we're very interested in. iRacing, you can create a skin and upload it to a third-party website, and then everyone can actually see it that has that third-party website downloaded. So that's something we've been thinking about, tossing the idea about, but nothing really set in stone at the moment.
All right, last one from Spink. None of this is in English, bro. The net code needs to be brilliant on day one because that's really what gives us the best experiences. What does that mean?
Net code's like all the physics and stuff like that. Yeah.
So net code would basically be like if where the rider is on my screen versus where he is on his screen, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So on my screen, we may be bar to bar. On his screen, he may be a half a bike length ahead of me. And we know for racing specifically, this is a major, major deal, and it is a huge focus for us.
Okay, so you guys are on top of every one of these questions so far. I'm digging this.
Well, they've been at it for a year, and like all the problems that they're trying to solve, like they've been problems
you guys as players
15, 20 years.
Yeah,
it's been a problem for decades. At
in
this
layman's term, Dark Side, like you'll be racing somebody, and
I get it.
It looks like they're spacing out and all this spazzing out and all this stuff, but really they're not. It just looks like that because of the. So it's definitely something that has to be addressed.
All right.
Sure.
Brandon Shaw says, how big of a difference will there be in overall features from console to PC? I know generally PC will be easier to mod freely, so I'm curious if the experience on console will be more limited.
That's an interesting question. I would say we would like to have them as close as possible, so the experiences are similar across the board.
Okay. Do we have anything else on YouTube? That's all the forum questions.
No, everybody's. There's a lot of people on here to hear you. So
to hear me?
No, not you. To hear Chauncy.
Awesome.
Well,
thanks guys for listening.
Several of the people in the comments are people that send in questions too. So
yeah.
Well, you guys all play. So do you two have anything else?
I haven't played.
I think I'm good.
I haven't had a console in a few years, and I used to play Sim back in like when it one of the first generations that it came out, and I loved it. But like you said earlier, I played it for like 3 years, and like I would get good, and then I would like change my stability or my physics or suspension or something like that, and then I would suck again for like 3 months, and then it's a never ending road, dude, and I don't have the computer for it now, or else.
I've got
MX Bikes looks really fun. I would love to try that.
Sure.
I just don't have that kind of computer.
I've got like 800 hours on MX Bikes, and I'm still just like decent. Like decent.
Our other co-host TJ, who's not here tonight, wants to know what consoles it will be available on. Will it be on PS2, or do I have to?
No, it'll be next gen.
It was a joke.
Unfortunately, PS2 is probably a little bit of a stretch at this point, but PS5 and Xbox Series S and X.
Okay. I think I have a PS3, maybe.
You're out,
two
still
PlayStations ago.
Man, we need to upgrade you. We need to get you hooked up.
We're getting on a PC.
My sister gave me this one, and I've turned it on one time. I was like, I can't.
It's not going to work for this.
I literally went back to my PS2 and just played MX Unleashed and Tiger Woods. And I need to get better at this shit.
Get a PC. You can play all those old Moto games.
Okay. All right. So you guys are good. Chauncy, anything else that you want to point out or talk about that maybe we missed?
I have one more topic that I would like to talk about. It's just quickly go through the physics. And I've seen a ton of questions about this on what are the physics going to look like. And I wanted to read just a quirk we're putting out a physics devlog tomorrow, actually, where it's this really well-written letter from our head physics designer. And I think this one sentence really sums it up well and should drive home our vision. And it says, no arcadish behavior, no scripting, no shortcuts, only cold, hard physics that moves the bike and rider along. And so I think that sentence alone should give people plenty of, the idea of where we're going.
That's what I like to hear, man.
Awesome. And Checkers on Pulp last night said, like, if I recall right, if you go on Kickstarter and you do the $40 contribution or whatever, you get the game, right? It's not like you're basically helping out, contributing and getting this thing going, but you're also already paying for the game ahead of time.
Yeah, you're just pre-ordering it basically.
And I think there was a benefits to that as well.
If you pay, it's basically, it's like tiers or whatever, but if you get so far up, you get game early. There's different perks.
Right. But wasn't there, I feel like Checkers said something about, like, if you did do the $40 or whatever the price was, there was another benefit to it. You got something that nobody else was going to get if you got in early. What was that?
I can't remember what he said.
All of the tiers come with titles, in-game titles. Some of them you can even get your name. There's going to be a compound that's kind of the hub for the game, and you can get your name, spray painted or engraved into that compound, so it'll be there forever.
Okay.
And a lot of these perks they come with skins. Some of these, tiers that you can only get through the Kickstarter. And what's really cool is, I'm going to get pretty technical here, but some of these other games like Counter-Strike or say Rocket League in the past have had trading systems where if I say I have the gold helmet and I got it from the Kickstarter, I can actually trade that and within the community, and it creates kind of its own little ecosystem. And that's something that we're really excited about doing as well, where there will be exclusive items that you can only earn, through the Kickstarter or through specific other ways.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty cool. I guess that's exciting to you too, I would assume.
Oh yeah.
That sounds cool. I had a question about tracks, and this is a dumb question. It's fine.
There are no dumb questions.
Will there be access to, like, say, the national tracks, like Ironman, Glen Helen, Southwick? Will those be things that you guys are able to add eventually?
So I would kind of rephrase my OEM answer, where licensing is difficult, but absolutely we would love that.
Okay, I kind of figured that was like best case, yes. So that makes sense.
Is it going to be similar to like the track packs thing that they used to have on Reflex, or I don't know what they do now, but how is it going to be? Like, if you're not constantly getting the new maps or whatever, are you going to be out of date, or how's that going to work?
So we'll be able to have multiple playlists, I'm sure, where we'll be able to have I would call it the vanilla game, where you can still be able to play. There will still be a community on the game that shipped on day one. Anything past that, then obviously you would have to have that content to play, on those tracks. But, I'm very passionate about keeping the vanilla game, the community that is just able, the younger kids or the dads getting home from work that are able to just get on and play for a little time, and they don't have the time to get the DLCs or maybe the money, to make sure that they're not left behind, and we're able to keep them engaged as well.
Awesome.
And what's the tentative release date?
We're shooting for Q4 2025.
All right.
Guys, you know what Q4 means?
Quarter.
Okay. Just checking.
I'm sorry that I sound like an idiot during the video game segment.
No, you're good. Don't worry, I was homeschooled.
Yeah, I'm just telling the listeners. I mean, I'm sure they're out there going, "He's fucking an idiot." But I mean, I'm sorry. I just don't know. I'm not good at gaming. Like, I play the shit out of some Mad Skills 3, but that's kind of my limit.
That's not even gaming, dude. Come on.
All right, well, I guess I need to learn, man. I'll upgrade my console, and I'm getting in on this Kickstarter thing because I want in on it early, so I'm going to do that, even though I don't own a console yet.
We'll get you taken care of.
All right.
We'll get you hooked up.
All right, well, Chauncy, dude, really appreciate you jumping in here. Checkers is a great guy, and I'm glad that he's involved in race tech, and this thing's exciting. Sounds like people are really hyped up for it, and it sounds to me like it's been needed. So good job.
The teaser looked sick. Just so you know.
Man. Yeah, they killed that. And thank you guys for having me. It's a little surreal, to be honest. I started at nothing 3 years ago, and now to be on the Vital podcast is pretty cool, So thank you.
Well, we appreciate you jumping on here. Sounds like you're a big deal. These guys know who you are, and I'm looking forward to
I didn't realize that I watch your stuff like almost every day.
So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thanks for giving us some of your time, and we look forward to motocross the game.
All right. You guys have a good day.
You too, bud. See ya.
Bye.
Chauncy Sharp tonight, brought to you by ETS Racing Fuels. Yeah, I mean, I'm video game or gaming ignorant. I just am. But
Dude, I am too.
I would love to have a game that I could physically play, that I'm coordinated enough to play.
Well, yeah, you can ride beginner mode on this new one, apparently. So you'll be all right.
I'm down. So I guess, I'm going to have to upgrade. Okay, we've got about 15 minutes
class for life.
before we can do what?
So you'll be beginner class for life?
I might move into novice class, for 30 years.
Yeah.
We're going to do it. Hey, if this thing's as realistic as you guys are talking about.
Yeah, novice class. C class for life,
C
baby.
class.
Like Michael, I wrote that other game, and right after y'all went to Thunder Valley for the regional.
Yeah.
And Michael Gage was running faster lap times than me on the exact same track, and I was playing a fucking video game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, it's that hard.
Yeah.
All right. All right. We got a few minutes before we get to RJ Wageman, so we're going to get the T-Bolt USA top 5. I'm texting him back. All right, we'll get to that in a second. Let me get over here to the reads for T-Bolt. T-Bolt USA top 5 this week is our top 5 favorite graphics kits of all time for motocross bikes. That was a difficult one. We got some emails on your list, your picks, but it was really a difficult decision for me to go through. And there's so many different eras and things I like, but
most of mine ended up coming from the same era.
Really?
Yeah, they're close, but
I kind of spread mine out.
Well, that's what we grew up on. So
yeah, exactly.
There's all the nostalgia.
I had a feeling you guys were going to go old school, so we'll get to it. Let me do the read first. T-Bolt USA, if you are a pit bike enthusiast and love shredding around on a CRF 110, KLX 110, or whatever you have, you need TBoltUSA.com bookmarked on your web browser. T-Bolt USA is a pit bike supply site that has everything you need for your pit bike, from BBR handlebars to D&M shocks, and even full-blown bikes from YCF and Pitster Pro bikes. T-Bolt USA has it all. They even have stuff for the Chinese bikes that are so difficult to find. You'll find pit bikes, engines, and parts at TBoltUSA.com. Tonight, the T-Bolt USA top 5 is graphics kits. Scotty decided next week we're going top 5 ice cream-based desserts.
Or ice cream flavors, however you want to do it.
If it involves ice cream, you can put it on your list, motoxpodshow@gmail.com. We can argue over ice cream. Who wants to go first in their favorite graphics kits?
Okay.
Go ahead, Chase.
Number one, like the epitome of graphic kits, 1-800-COLLECT Honda. It's number one.
I almost took that one, but I knew one of you would.
Yeah. Then the Chevy Trucks Cowie.
Yep.
Makita Suzuki. The Husky throwback from this year, the blue and yellow one.
That one almost made my
that's
list.
one of my favorite kits, especially from
that thing looked for the newer ones.
Yeah. And then I always like the Geico Honda bikes a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that for me, a lot of the older ones, because I'm not crazy about the energy drink, anything energy drink. They just don't really. I mean, the bikes look good, and I like the way they look, but it just doesn't. I don't know. They just never really worked for me.
Yeah.
But
I'm down with that.
But so on mine, I've got the no particular order, but I'll do the Spitfire Cowie with the Hot Wheels logo on it.
That was a good one.
Kawasaki, the Pro Circuit bikes. McGrath's Chaparral Yamaha from like 98 to 2000.
I almost went with both those that you just mentioned.
I did have the Chevy Trucks Kawasaki on mine. And then the Pastrana's Suzuki.
The Sobe bike.
The Sobe Suzukis. I know I just talked about energy drinks, but
that's good.
The Suzuki one was
different.
crazy. And also the Troy Lee designed Lucas Oil graphics from like the early 2010s.
Yeah.
Like that era of Lucas Oil TLD.
Where they had the blue seat with the white like Adidas stripes almost.
Yes. Yeah. Those were sick. Yeah. Those.
I just realized I forgot about the Peak Hondas.
Yeah.
Well, number one on my list, 1991 Team Peak Pro Circuit Honda.
Those bikes are awesome, man.
I split that with 92 when it was the Split Fire Peak Honda. So both those, actually the McGrath autographs are right there on the wall on those bikes. So yeah, those were my number ones. Number 2, I went 2001 Yamaha Troy with the Dragon on the side.
Those did look good.
I thought about putting one on there
with
too.
the white seats.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scotty, can you spin around and reach that side panel right there with one of you guys? So then I also put on 2024 this year the Club MX military appreciation bikes.
Is that this?
No, that we're getting to that one.
Okay.
I like the military appreciation bikes this year from Club MX. And then so you just put it on one of those cameras there, Scotty. the Team Solitaire Slayer graphics. That's all, man. It's all time, bro. It's metal. So I put that on there. And then Moto Triple X.
Oh, yeah. With the dice.
Yep, with the dice. So those were my picks. Obviously, there's so many others we could have picked.
Oh, I do have an honorable mention.
Yep, have at it.
I saw this guy at one of the local tracks one time, and his shroud said, Dope Whore Racing.
Dope Whore?
Yeah. And I was like, Dope Whore Racing? And he's like, well, I used to be married to a dope whore, and then I divorced her.
Dope Whore.
And with the money, he said, with the money I saved, I started riding. So
jeez.
I had a pretty good OnlyFans Cowie before Carnell started doing that.
Okay. Yeah. Faith Williams sent in, which that's dog lover. Listening to the show this morning, and I was excited about the top 5 bike graphics. I don't know what place I want to rank these because they are all so good. So in no particular order, my top 5 are Star Yamaha 50th Anniversary Theme, Star Yamaha Military Appreciation from Arlington 24, TLD Gas Venom from Vegas, Club MX Military Appreciation from last year, and Rockstar Husky Military Appreciation from this year. So all current bikes, but...
Yeah, they...
sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, that just made me think of the Ghostbuster gas bike was sick.
Yeah. TLD does a lot of cool stuff, and I want to throw in honorable mention just to all the St. Jude's bikes with the kids when they do those graphics. We got a couple of their graphics on my wall. Those are always pretty cool. What'd you say?
I can't get a camera over there.
Yeah, I'm not that's all good. All good.
But so very cool options there. We could do Evans cool. You know what? Let's just see if we can get RJ on. But the old school bikes, some of them were sometimes plain, like even just like the factory Honda, but they still look badass.
Like they went through that era where they wanted to look OEM. Like everything looked like stock, but they weren't.
Honda
at all.
still does that. Really, I mean, they're pretty close to stock, and they're one of the best looking bikes on the track.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I've always thought that Mitch's and Troy Lee stuff.
Honda's the only one I would like run though. I wouldn't run a PC grit kit on my bike.
Yeah, I don't want to. I personally don't want to do any graphics kit that's from a team. Like I like to do my own thing.
Yeah. I do something crazy, make up some logos and stuff.
I don't really understand when a guy shows up at the local track with the Red Bull KTM logo or whatever. Like, it's cool, but it's your thing. But
or a fake Red Bull helmet.
Yeah.
Hey, my buddy Chad has one. He's going to have one this weekend at Vets, I think. But hey,
he better not wear it out there. He might get a cease and desist.
I think it's fake. Maybe it's a real one. Maybe he got it from somebody.
It's not fake. It's not real.
Well, I mean, Mathis has James Stewart's old helmet. What if he wore it this weekend?
But he wouldn't do that.
Let's get to our next guest. Yeah, I don't know, man. Mathis is kind of a dork.
Red Bull's loose with them cease and desist letters.
All right. Our next guest is brought to you by EVS. Over the past 39 years, EVS Sports has established itself as the leader in innovation and technology when it comes to designing protection gear for today's motocross riders. Athletes like RJ Hampshire, Kyle Chisholm, Freddie Norrin, Axel Hodges, and Travis Pastrana all wear EVS when they race, ride, or whatever Travis decides to do that day. Check out evs-sports.com. Use the code VITALMX30 to save and gear up like the pros. Tonight, EVS brings us from Yamaha Motor USA. He's a stunt rider, our buddy, ex-privateer RJ Wageman. What is up, RJ?
What's happening, boys? Yeah, stoked to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you on. Your sister, Stephanie, works for EVS. She's my contact over there. So, yeah, one of the families in the business.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she was before EVS. She was at Leatt for a long time. And then, now she's made the jump over to EVS. And, of course, we are going to support that and at least wear the chest protector for me. I'm a big Asterisk knee brace guy and have been forever. But yeah, I know Robbie's wearing EVS braces and chest protector as well. So we're stoked on that.
Yeah, lots of good stuff. The new Access Web Eclipse braces out, knee braces are out. Plus, you have the TP 199 and the Slaco 96 knee guards that a lot of people like. I love the technical undergear stuff. I use that when I'm working out, or I wear the boxers when I'm riding with the little pads in them. So a lot of cool stuff at EVS. Use that promo code VitalMX30 to save. RJ, first GNCC of your life this weekend? You didn't race it, but you worked it.
I did not race it. I was hoping I would maybe be able to take a little cruiser lap, but we were a little too busy, so we weren't able to make that happen. But, man, what an experience. I was blown away. I think everybody's kind of had the same impression, but it's hard to explain unless you were there to really see how many people, first off, how many people Ironman can hold, and just how big this track was, and how many racers were on the starting line and how they run it. Unbelievable. Great experience. And I recommend it to pretty much anybody I talk to now. It's going to be something I definitely want to make happen in the future as far as racing it, for sure.
Yeah, this is my third year getting to do a few, and we always talk about the crowds and the community, the family-like community that comes with a GNCC. You already mentioned the crowd. What else really stood out to you about the event? Just overall, like, what were the highlights for you?
Oh man, I was definitely lucky because of what I went there for. So that was a highlight, to be a part of, Yamaha's new 2025 250FX intro. But yeah, probably for me was going over the first day on Saturday when the quads are racing. I went to the FMS Power Hill, and to watch the quads absolutely shred up that silty hill and kind of catch air and get all sorts of sketchy. I was like, all right, this is going to be the highlight. But watching when you guys were out there, I went over to Ironman Hill, and the videos, I'm sure you've kind of seen them floating around Instagram. I mean, that is real life stuff. There are people ghost riding their bikes just to try and make it up the hill. There are hundreds of people that create like a line if they need to help somebody pull people up. I mean, it's just nothing. That's the highlight, is like there's a track and people are like walking around, or they're on bicycles, or they're out in the woods just drinking beer, having a good time. It's hard to process, but that was probably my highlight of the GNCC event. It's just the crowd and the dynamic that is cruising around there, and the people that are out there riding and racing. And like I was talking to Randy Hawkins about it, he said it's like it is the grassroots of dirt bike racing, and I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, 100%. I don't remember who we were talking to Sunday night, or no, it was last night on Pulp, and Phil was on there, and he was like, these are the guys that pay our bills, meaning the Supercross riders, because these are the people that come and they buy all the gear, and the sponsors then support us and pay us to wear their gear, because these grassroots, these 10,000, 30,000 people that were here, they go buy all the gear, and they don't really care that it matches, but they're out there just supporting the sport.
No, exactly. It's pretty cool. I was talking to my family about it, and I can't remember like the largest crowd I've seen at a race like that in forever. I mean, if I could compare it to maybe like Loretta Lynn's, a lot of spectators go, and then there are a lot of racers, because you're only allowed to do 2 classes. So that when you have 30 plus classes or whatever, the pits get super full, and it's so busy at Loretta's. And that's like the last kind of event that I've been to. I don't think an outdoor national, I don't know, not that many racers, obviously. Right. So that's what like was so mind blowing, is to see how many motorhomes and how many trailers and just how many people were, in a side by side driving around, or on an electric bicycle, or just whatever it was. I mean, they literally had a designated, like, I don't know if you paid attention, but the main road you drive in, they had a designated, like, you walk on this side of the barrier as like foot traffic, and then the opposite side of the barrier is like, bicycle traffic, and then on the actual road was traffic for vehicles. That's how busy it was. That's what was just, crazy to continue to talk about, but that's what was blowing my mind.
Hey, RJ, so before this weekend, had we seen Dark Side ride before?
Yes, I have quite a bit, actually.
Okay,
yeah.
What were we thinking? Like, we're under the Yamaha rig. We're launching this brand new bike. So let him ride it for whatever reason. And you're like, what was your thoughts as Dark Side's going down the line?
He saw me at Glen Helen. Well, he was the one that went up the hill at Glen Helen, tell me to twist the throttle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely yelled at Dark Side while we've ridden at Glen Helen. He said I needed to focus on my own riding and not yell at him while I was passing him on the track. I can remember that. But we can just fast forward to riding Dark Side's motorcycle to the pressure washer station after the race. The front brake didn't work. Yeah. Everything's bent. So, I mean,
here you go, guys. Thanks.
See you next year.
But,
he was already packed up and gone.
Yeah. He definitely broke the bike in. Let's just put it that way. But no, I mean, he did good. I feel like you've you've taken a lot of crap, and you still do, like from Villo or Bradshaw or pretty much anybody who wants to give you shit. You just have to put up with it. And I think you did fine. You know, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on you when it comes with that, because that people are watching you. So I think you did good. You look good. I was listening earlier how you said you want to make, like, next time you do it, you want to try to train to do the 4 laps. And I think you need to get in that mindset where you can make the 4 laps.
Yep.
Just to do it. And that might, like, you know, increase the speed a little bit. But while we increase the speed, we got to keep the smooth, steady riding. We can't just blow it apart. So there's some positives to only doing the 3 laps. And yes, you had a few crashes, but hey, you finished, you did it. And I think that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool what you get to do.
Oh, for sure. And just so you know, the crash that bent the rotor and the bars,
of course, it could have been your fault.
I crashed on my own a couple times. It's tipped over. But that crash was when the dude crashed in front of me as I was going up the hill. And you just don't have anywhere to go. Yeah. So I was almost to the top of one of the smaller hills, RJ, when this dude fell in front of me, and he clipped the front wheel. And at that point, I just launched the bike to the top because I didn't want to go back down. So, yeah. I guess it was my fault because I did launch the bike, but I lost my momentum when the dude crashed in front of me. But, yeah, so how did the opportunity come at Yamaha? Look, we heard you on Pulp not that long ago. You're retired from professional Supercross. You're doing some stunt work at Universal, and we'll talk about that. But how did this opportunity with Yamaha come about?
Yeah, so if I have the story from what I can remember correctly, I've kind of done this similar job position with Suzuki, so I kind of had a little bit of experience over the years. And then it was kind of, I think, my last outdoor national that I did July of 2023 at Washougal. Mike Ulrich and I were talking, and if I have the story correctly, he asked if I was, you know, kind of available to help out with some work down at the shop and maybe some, you know, bike break-in stuff. And that's kind of when it all started. And then I helped. My first real outing with Yamaha was for the 2024 Yamaha 250F intro at Paris. And then from there, it's kind of just stayed fairly busy. I kind of just help out with, like, you know, events and stuff like that when they're busy, but they have a lot of stuff going on. They test quite a bit. And it seems like they've kind of always needed a helping hand. And I would consider myself somebody who, you know, can kind of handle the workload that's given to me there. And I feel like I'm pretty well qualified for it. So, yeah, that's kind of how it went down. And then I feel like I've proven myself a little bit. And yeah, I really enjoy it. It's pretty darn cool to work at their shop in Cyprus. Obviously, they have all the tools you need to succeed. And yeah, that's pretty much how it went down.
Hell yeah, good for you.
So Darkside mentioned the stunt stuff at Universal, and that before the show was the first I had even heard of it. So I'm just curious, like, what all that entails and what you're doing down there for them.
Yeah, totally. No, you should check it out. So that's kind of, since I've stopped racing, you know, I've been pretty lucky. I have done some work in the past on a few little movies and music videos and a few different TV shows. So I do have my SAG card, and that pretty much qualifies me to be eligible to do stunts. And yeah, since I stopped racing, that's kind of the direction I want to go. And this opportunity came around to try out for the Waterworld stunt show at Universal Studios Hollywood. So yeah, I had the opportunity to go in, and as far as I knew at the time, I was trying out to ride jet skis, and I knew that I had a pretty fair amount of experience when it came to that. But what I didn't realize is the current position that I play, how many other different things he does throughout the show. So riding a jet ski wasn't the problem, but learning how to fight and learning how to, you know, kind of act and, you know, really learn about the character you're playing and get into that role was tough. I definitely had some growing pains, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's a Waterworld stunt show at Universal Studios Hollywood, and it's pretty darn fun. It's a really good experience, and it's a super, you know, active 20-minute show for somebody like me. So it keeps me in good shape, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. All
right, RJ, excuse me, RJ, isn't it crazy, like how, the guys like you and your brother that were, right outside the top 10 in Supercross, dedicating your whole lives to it, training and all this stuff. And then after the race, you see the keyboard warriors like, oh, these guys, what are these guys doing in 12th place? Like, why are they still trying all the blah, blah, blah? And then you go to this thing at Universal Studio and you do like a big splash on a jet ski and the whole crowd just like loses their shit. Like it had to be quite like eye opening to see the difference in the two experiences.
The fandom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is for sure. I mean, it's definitely two different levels of appreciation, but I mean, I don't know. Moto is pretty cool. It's built such an incredible path for somebody like myself, and I think I can even speak on my brother's behalf too. But yeah, I mean, there's separation for sure, right? Like in Moto, everybody works really hard, and like you're gonna eventually fall into some place, whether that's 5th, 10th, 20th, whatever it is. And there are so many different factors, obviously, that separate you on the moto track as well. Whether it's purely fitness or the bike you're on, whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, that's just part of it. And then as far as like being at Universal, I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. There are other people that do this. There's 12 of us in the same role. So there are people that have been there a lot longer than me, or even people that, can pick it up a little bit quicker than I have that, might put on a better show than I can. But yeah. I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, you try to take whatever criticism you get and you try to just build off of it, right? And it's just what makes you a stronger person.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We talked a little bit. You said you have your SAG card, and I kind of mentioned, and you said you've done some movies and stuff. Talk about that, like how difficult it is to actually get in the circle of a working stuntman and to start getting roles, because it is a little bit of a tribe. You kind of have to earn your way in.
Absolutely, it is, and I can't really provide too much information on that because I wouldn't consider myself somebody that's like, fully in and fully working yet. But yeah, from the opportunities that I have had in the past have been mainly somewhat two-wheel related. So that's what I feel like obviously I excel in, and that's what's helped me get these jobs in the past. And it's been an incredible experience for sure with the few things that I've done. And it's comparable to, I guess you would say, like lining up at a Supercross or a national, right? Like you have a lot of people behind the scenes that are watching you. If, the stunt coordinator's, heavily involved, like you need to make him look good. Like he hired you for a reason. So, I guess like the thrill of it and all that kind of stuff is pretty cool. And that's what I really like about it. And I like the side of, staying fit and all that kind of stuff. So those are the cool parts about it for sure. Obviously there's some stuff that can be pretty darn dangerous and you got to be calculated, but yeah, I'm hoping to enter into that world a bit more. And I feel like I have, a few more things that I can put on my resume now with doing this show at Universal. Like I do a 35-foot high fall, and then, also working pretty hard to improve like my fights, fighting on screen, I guess you would say. Sure. So learning how to throw a punch and all that kind of stuff, and also be safe while doing it, not injure the person that you're fighting. So yeah, there are a lot of positives to it. And I think that, I can add all that kind of stuff to my resume, and I can hopefully, when this industry has kind of been in a little bit of a halt, since the strike and all that kind of stuff in the, Los Angeles area. So hopefully that stuff will come back around and I'll be able to get some more work and really get, some more experience in that field. But for now, we're training hard and working towards it for sure, especially now that my racing career has come to an end.
Let's do a couple Vital MX forum questions from our listeners before we let you go. Dog Lover, she had asked what you're doing now, or what you're doing post racing, which we already talked about that. She wants to know, now that you're doing the stunts, does that give you the same feelings of racing? You talked about the excitement of it. Does it compare?
Yes and no. I mean, it's a little bit on like, it is cool. I feel like the only difference is like Universal, they can fit 3,000 people in the bleachers. So, I mean, if you have 3,000 people in the bleachers, plus if like management is standing up in their little box, and then if there's any other like cast members that are there that day and they're watching you, like, yeah, I mean, it puts a little bit of pressure. Like you want to put on a good show and you want to show them that like you're busting your butt behind the scenes and that you can, make the show go on and kind of, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, yeah, it gets the heart, pumping and all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, it's hard. For somebody like me, I mean, there's no feeling like lining up at A1 or riding through the tunnel when opening ceremony is going off, and like the pressure you put on yourself and the work you put in before like each event is kind of unmatched. But I mean, this is at least kind of the second best thing and the closest thing to it, where I get to perform in front of people and, kind of like get those butterflies going and all that kind of stuff. So it's the next best thing for me for sure.
So you may have told the story before, but I was curious, like how y'all got into the jerky business and how all that came about.
rjerky.com, the letter R, R-jerky.
I need to order some.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah. It's eatrjerky.com.
Oh, that's right. Eatrjerky. Yeah.
Damn it, Dar.
It's eatrjerky.com. But yeah, that's kind of another, I guess you would say, like iron in the fire that we have. It's pretty cool. It's long story short, I guess pretty much Robbie and I were trying to figure out a way that we could, help us go racing without, maybe, something different than a GoFundMe or something different than selling a t-shirt. And, this idea was brought to us by, a longtime family friend. And, we started making beef jerky and it's been pretty awesome. We're stoked on it. We kind of we're going off of like 2017 is technically when the idea came around and when we started kind of selling it a little bit locally at the tracks and stuff like that. But realistically, 2018 is kind of when we started pushing it, when we were going to the races and we've gotten some clients and stuff like that as far as store wise. And it's been pretty awesome. So I'm definitely looking to continue to grow that. We've had a really busy month, actually. October's been awesome for us. And yeah, it's pretty darn cool. And to answer your question, I guess the reason we started it was just how could we help ourselves go racing and raise a little extra money to help offset the cost of racing dirt bikes.
It's probably one of the cooler stories I've heard of somebody funding their racing. Usually it's just people, with a handout trying to get stuff from everybody. And I like to see somebody take some initiative and try to do it themselves.
I mean, it was definitely a team effort, so we're pretty lucky on it, and we hope to see it continue to grow. And we'll see where it goes.
I'll have to order some after the show.
It's really, we used to have a discount code when they were sponsoring the show back in the day, but it's I might have a couple of sample packs left.
I'd always post repost their ads on Instagram.
Yeah, it's super. It's really, really good. Tweedle D from the forum says it's about our jerky. What do you think it's going to take to get it to the next level as a business and really gain traction outside of the moto industry? It's probably pretty difficult. That's a big pot.
It's a big market.
It is for sure. I mean, I have a couple ideas, and I hope that one day I can get after that. I think that our label is cool, but it's pretty generic, and I think that it's obviously geared more towards dirt bike racing and stuff like that. So I feel like I would like to keep it geared towards action sports, like the look of it and stuff like that. But I think if anybody out there that's listening that does graphic design wants to make some money, I would love to get some help there, graphic design wise, and kind of run some ideas that I have, like, and go over the look and bring that idea I have in my head, to real life. And then I think, and I don't know, I could be jumping the ship here, but I need help with some form of distribution. I feel like that's really where, like, our next step is. I've gone, like, the stores that we have, if you go on our website and go into store locations, like the stores pretty much that I have, like moto stores obviously are some form of relationship throughout the years of racing, but any like liquor store that we have, or even like the gas station outside the Paula motocross track right outside the Paula casino, like that's from me literally going in there and asking if there's a manager and I could talk to them, and kind of brought in my little portfolio and like told them what I had, and like it just worked. So
gotcha.
I mean, yes, I could keep door knocking and stuff like that, but I feel like I need help with some form of distribution and like some coaching. Obviously, I don't really have that many, business skills, but some form of coaching in that aspect. And I think it could take off. I know we have a really good product and a lot of people like it and they like the idea behind it. So that's my goal.
How can somebody reach you if they do want to help?
Obviously, Instagram is a great way to do it, or you could go on our website, eatourjerky.com. You can email us. Yeah, those are two great ways to reach us.
All right, I got one more for you.
RJ, I was just gonna say you got the Universal show now. Just like do it as like a little plug. Like, I would never been able to win this fight if it wasn't for my Eat Our Jerky.
You think Universal would be okay with
Nobody
that?
noticed.
They'd love it.
They would.
Sure.
They wouldn't even notice. Yeah.
They would probably love it. Well, I do know that they love the product, especially when I bring it in.
Yeah.
It seems to go pretty quickly. It seems like people like to eat it. So
Sweet.
Yeah, maybe I could slip that in there. I definitely could also, to be harsh on myself, like I could be way better with our social media kind of stuff too. Like I lag pretty hard with our, social platform with our jerky as well too. So I'll take a lot of blame. Like I'm not just putting it, like it's on me and it's on Robbie too. He can get some blame.
Sure, yeah, I'll put it all on Robbie.
Yeah.
All right, well, Robbie Wageman, or RJ Wageman, brought to you tonight by EVS. RJ, it's great seeing you this weekend. A lot of fun hanging out. Sorry, been up the bike a little bit.
It's all good. It's a little bit of like insurance for me as far as like maybe I can go back to work and fix that thing. Not every day is guaranteed for me to work. So
right.
Maybe there'll be some work for me when all the bikes get back.
If you need somebody to tear up a bike, shoot me a message.
I'm your guy. Yeah.
All right, RJ. Thanks for jumping on here tonight. Good luck with everything, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Really quick, and also MotoXpod 21 is still a code for you guys. Like it's there. It doesn't expire. I'm on our site now. So
sweet.
MotoXpod 21, you can save 20% on all our jerky orders at eatourjerky.com. But yes, thank you very much for having me on the show. It was an awesome time this weekend. I enjoyed getting to hang out with you and everyone else that participated. So
for sure,
looking forward. Maybe I'll see you this weekend at Glen Helen. I don't know.
I'll be there, yeah. So if you want to come out and maybe we do a team race, we'll switch. We'll take turns on the YZ450.
I like that. Sounds like a good plan to me. All right, boys. All right. You guys have a good show.
Yeah, see ya. All right, bye. That is RJ Wageman tonight, brought to you by EVS. Yeah, our MotoXpod 21. I'm gonna write that down because I need to order some.
It's only a few years old.
Yeah, well, I mean they have it. Yeah, they
still works.
So some really good stuff. ProX is rooted in racing from motocross to off-road and supporting teams such as Ampro, Yamaha, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, and SLR Honda. They have been supplying quality components for almost 50 years, from complex jobs like an engine rebuild to simple maintenance, including filters, chains, and sprockets. ProX aims to bridge the gap between OE quality and affordability. You can find ProX at your local dealer or visit pro-x.com and search for parts for your bikes. Like I said, I think I told you guys I ordered recently a chain and some sprockets for the KTM. Just incredibly high quality stuff at a really great price. So support those people that support this show. You guys got anything else before we wrap this thing up for tonight?
Are we doing did we do an email?
No, I think we're just going to do well, you know what? We do need to do a couple emails. So Lewis and I were talking about the show earlier and he goes, this is going to be more than a 3-hour show. And I was like, no way. It's going to be under 3 hours.
We're close.
We're at 2:47. And if I cancel the emails, he'll say I did that just so he was wrong. So we will do the Evans Coolant emails. Because that's fair. Evans waterless coolant protects your engine because it always stays liquid. Steam inside the engine creates hot spots and detonation, but with Evans, the metal is always liquid cooled. Used by HRC Honda, Factory Beta USA, Ampro Factory Yamaha, who we rode with this weekend, and many other teams, regardless of the sponsorship. Evans is in the bikes on the podium. Evans Coolant emails. I've got one here in my phone. This is from Tim West. He said, I know it's against the rules, but when Kenny went down to a 250 for Ironman this year, it got me thinking about a racer theoretically could race all 4 motos on the day and attempt a podium in both classes in either Supercross or Motocross. It's not really allowed, but he just wants to think. Do you think any past or current riders would have the endurance to pull that feet off? And I feel like almost all of them would have at this point the endurance. They're all just...
That used to be a thing, right?
Guys would do both classes, sure.
Yeah, JT did it, right?
Yeah, he did it for
but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So, but I think any of those guys could.
But top three? I don't think top three.
Jet realistically
could. Yeah, it did.
Oh, and podium in both classes. Okay, so
Jet's about the only one that I could.
I bet Hayden could too, probably.
Yeah, I guess.
I think you throw Eli on a 250F, he might be on the podium.
it's so much energy for those guys to do that. You really think? I know Jet's Jet, but you really think he could go?
Yes,
one,
I do.
one.
Maybe not
day?
1-1-1-1, but
three.
he could podium,
like Supercross,
especially with how he rides.
Yes, I do believe.
I mean, not on the.
It'd be difficult.
Maybe not on like the exact schedule to where you're like come off the 450 and go straight on the 250 in 15
they would have to do
minutes.
that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
So Supercross easier than outdoors, obviously.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that we
not.
just don't even ever think about that. Like have there should be like an Ironman award with a prize to it. Yeah.
I like it. Good question. Okay. We have some that we've been holding on to for a few weeks. Let's do this one right here. Do you believe in ghosts or aliens?
Aliens, yeah, for sure. There's no way. There's no way with all the known galaxies and planets and all that.
In a way, yes.
There's no way there's not something else.
I agree with you fully.
I don't know
on aliens. Why? What do you mean by in a way? Yes. What does that mean? Like not little green men.
I think of it more in a spiritual realm, but yes, 100%.
No, I definitely think there's other life forms that are like
there's
intelligent life forms somewhere out there in that endless.
I think it's more of like fallen angels kind of thing.
I don't know about that, but maybe another dimension, something like that. But
I just think if you were
there's so many other galaxies and planets and stuff that we
if I went
the stuff
that
we just
direction
know about
for say whatever
7,000 light years
for 10 years. I mean, eventually, I think I might find another life form.
I'm with that. Yeah, there's going to be something.
What about ghosts?
I mean,
is that what you were talking about?
In the spiritual.
So
Mason Winnicke's house was haunted.
Yeah, he tried to kill me one night, but yeah.
I didn't hear what you said.
Mason, one of our buddies' houses, it definitely was haunted. I've seen
that
some
thing tried to kill me one
there.
night.
Yeah, I've had, we wake up and it feels like something sitting on your chest.
Yeah.
My buddy Monty, who I've talked about, he's a guitar player, played for Madonna and stuff. His old house, he said that him and his wife would like be sitting in the living room and lights would just come on, and the fans would start turning, and people were, well, that's electrical issue because they had the doors would open and shut.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
you could hear it like clear as day. Somebody walk all the way through my great aunt's house in Dallas before we sold it. I mean, you could hear him walk all the way across the house. Like you could hear him hit another room and then go across over to here. It's
all right. So here's a good email request. We don't get enough responses on stuff like this, but MotoXpodShow@gmail.com. If you've had an experience, like give me a real one, don't just make some stupid shit up. Like if you've really had something where you thought there was a ghost or something like that, something haunted that
you don't want that in your inbox.
Yeah, send it. Well, it's not my inbox; it's the show inbox.
Oh.
Yeah. Send it to us.
To read them.
We'll read it. Yeah, we'll read it in the next show. We're going to do show next week. It's going to be Wednesday night next week, just for you guys listening. As of right now, Daniel Blair's going to come on and talk to us about GT Arena Cross. Caleb Wood is going to come on. He is one of the youth. He's a youth champion in GNCC, rides for Stu's team, and he moved up to one of the big bike classes, and he did really well. I think he top 5. I haven't looked at the results, but he's a really fast kid. So we'll have another off-road kid, and then I'm going to reach out to AP and try to get AP on to talk about MXDN because he hasn't really done an interview since then. So that's the plan for next week.
He's got a little part in that game too, I think.
Yeah, well, I think just a lot of people
they're just
are
like,
promoting.
Okay.
Maybe they will have a part in it, but just a ton of people are promoting it. But then we'll do a little wrap up of the vets. I'll also be on PulpMX Monday night to talk about that.
That's why we're having the show Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't get back till Tuesday night, so I'll land like midday, and I have to drive home.
You're flying?
Yeah. Yes.
How are you getting the bike back?
They're shipping it back.
They're going to ship the bike back to me. Yeah. All right. I want to thank. Man, we had a full list tonight. I want to thank Ryan Villopoto for jumping on. I want to thank Rachael Archer, Walker Fowler, Chauncy Sharp, RJ Wageman. I want to thank...
It's a pretty well-rounded show tonight.
Yeah, it's a big one. I want to thank Racetech and Yamaha Motor USA for being the presenting sponsors. And then, of course, Guts Racing, FXR, X-Brand, Pro X, EVS, Evans Coolant, Barnett Clutches, T-Bolt USA, ETS.
Did you want to do any WSX stuff?
I just realized it's episode 333.
Yep, that's my number. I was going to bring that up, but then I thought that was
I brought it up. So
yeah, we would have made fun of you for that.
Before we go, Barnett Clutches with 75 years of experience behind them. Barnett Dirt Digger clutch kits feature friction materials exclusive to Barnett for maximum performance and durability. You can get 10% off with promo code VITALMX, all caps, at BarnettClutches.com and feel the Barnett difference. After this weekend at GNCC, there were some burned up clutches. I could smell those suckers all around the track. So hopefully they'll reach out to Barnett Clutches and get hooked up. BarnettClutches.com, VitalMX to save. Again, MotoXpodShow@gmail.com. Reach out, send us your emails. Top 5s next week. Ice cream-based desserts. I'm going to have me some ice cream in just a few minutes. Anything else, boys, before we go?
I think I'm good.
Okay, I don't know.
Appreciate you having me,
TJ
man.
may be back in next week. Who knows? Chase, you available next Wednesday?
Yep.
All right. So, we'll be having a show. Listen to Pulp MX Monday night. I'll be on there with Chris Kiefer and our buddy Vaj.
That should be good.
Yeah, should be a good show with a Vets Worlds.
Oh, it's going to be the recap.
Wrap up.
I can't wait.
The vet.
There will be no medals up for me, more than likely.
Come on, man. You got this.
I get sick of everybody telling me to be more positive.
Just blow
Michael
Steve
Gage
out.
today is like, you got to envision getting a whole shot and leading the whole thing.
What gets a medal? 8th?
It depends on
You
how
don't
many
even
are
have to
there,
get a
I think.
medal. I just want to see, I want the GoPro of you taking Steve out.
No, but what did you do last year?
Oh, I was like 22nd or something.
You top 10. You can top 10.
All right, that'll be the goal.
You've gotten a lot faster. It is Glen Helen, but you've
Been
gotten
right,
faster.
yeah, you've been
All right,
riding
guys.
a lot more. So.
Think other than that, that's the show. We're out. Thanks for listening.